Chapter 993. Kong Imoku frowned. Kong Imoku, you're not welcome here. Please leave immediately. Zhao Afong said coldly. Kong Imoku, why aren't you going back? Kong Daoqiu immediately shouted. Although he was scolding Kong Imoku, everyone could tell that he was protecting Kong Imoku. He did not want the situation to worsen and disrupt his plan. Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed curious expressions. Kong Imoku had just been slapped in the face again. Now, he was flustered, and he was even scolded. He immediately felt suffocated. He looked at Yin Chuan hatefully, then at the officials he brought with him. In the end, he snorted coldly and said, "Let's go." Kong Imoku quickly left with his officials. Clearly, Yin Xian did not want to let the matter rest. However, Kong Daoqiu said, "Sect Master Yun, I have offended you this time. I will definitely discipline him properly. Later, I will get Kong Imoku to apologize to the archaic mystery sect." Yin Xian looked at Kong Daoqiu and frowned. In the end, she nodded and did not pursue the matter. "Holy daughter, are you all right?" Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong. Zhao Afong shook her head and said, "I'm fine. You all go ahead. I will clean up here myself." Yin Xian nodded. On account of Kong Daoqiu, Yin Xian slowly led the group away. Before leaving, Kong Daoqiu glanced at Yin Chuan in surprise. Li Si and Mingling Tian were slightly surprised as well. However, they still left with Yin Xian. The only people left behind were the experts from the various sects, as well as the various sect leaders who had been invited. "Holy daughter, what happened earlier?" a sect master called out. The others all looked over. Zhao Afong frowned. Clearly, she did not want to say anything. "You go back first. Leave this to me," Yin Chuan said softly. "All right." Zhao Afong nodded and retreated to the undamaged palace. The other sect masters immediately frowned. At the same time, they looked at Yin Chuan's group with hostility. Just as Yin Chuan was about to step forward, Dongfeng Zhongpai suddenly said, "Yin Chuan, you've been fighting for so long. Leave this to me." "Huh? No matter what, I am the director of the Special Affairs Department. How can I not handle such a small matter?" Dongfeng Zhongpai said with a wink. Looking at Dongfeng Zheng, Yin Chuan nodded. He would leave this place to Dongfeng Jingji. After all, to Yin Chuan, there was no need for him to explain himself to these people. However, Dongfeng Zhongpai felt that this was an opportunity to perform. Yin Chuan, Bai Di Tian, and Lu Jin retreated to the main hall that was still intact. Only the Eastern Orthodox faction remained. "You're the one from the Julu Academy." One of the sect masters recognized him immediately. "That's right, I am the Great Confucian, Dongfeng Zhongpai." Dongfeng Zhongpai nodded. "What happened just now? Also, how can they live near the fairy palace?" One of the sect masters frowned. "What happened just now? Can't you see? The Celestial Arcanum sect's God creation plan is a fair competition. The Heavenly Lady and sect leader Yun are the judges. However, there are despicable people who want to find another way and destroy this fairness." Dongfeng Zhongpai said. "What? Kong Mok wants to destroy the rules?" One of the sect masters shouted angrily. "Isn't that so? Everyone had a chance to participate in the God creation plan. However, Kong Mok was a despicable villain. He actually set his sights on the Holy Daughter and even set up a grand formation to trap this place." Dongfeng Zhongpai said. "Is that so?" Someone asked suspiciously. "Of course. I'm a scholar. How can I lie?" Dongfeng Zhongpai said with a straight face. Everyone looked at Dongfeng Zhongpai suspiciously. Chapter 994. Then tell me, how is Kong Mok going to break the rules? Is it enough to trap her here? How is he going to force her to agree? Someone frowned. "Can't you see? She's trapped by the array. If Yin Chuan and I were not here, Kong Mok would have succeeded." Dongfeng Zhongpai shouted. "You almost succeeded? Is he going to use her innocence to threaten her?" Someone suddenly thought of something. Innocence? The innocence of the Heavenly Maiden? Kong Mok wants to do something beastly? Instantly, many cultivators were enraged. Dongfeng Zhongpai was feeling smug when he suddenly felt that something was wrong. Yin Chuan seemed to have an ambiguous relationship with the goddess. If he continued on this topic, Wouldn't he be tarnishing her reputation? Wouldn't he be letting Yin Chuan down? No, he had to protect her reputation. Dongfang Zhengpai immediately shouted, "No, it's not what you think." Huh? Actually, Kong Mok has a vicious secret technique to refine people into puppets. He wants to control the goddess. Dongfang Zhengpai explained. A secret technique to control people? How can there be such a secret technique? He must be trying to threaten her with her innocence. Someone said in disbelief. As soon as that person said that, many people followed suit and agreed. Dongfang Zhengpai was dumbfounded. They didn't believe him. What should he do? Seeing that everyone was filled with righteous indignation, Dongfang Zhengpai gritted his teeth and threw out another bombshell. "Sigh, you misunderstood. Kong Mok really wants to use a vicious secret technique. As for her innocence, it's impossible. Because," Dongfang Zhengpai said with a troubled expression. "Because what?" Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai. "Because Kong Mok isn't a man." Dongfang Zhengpai gritted his teeth and said, "Everyone, men?" Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai in confusion. "Of course. When he trapped us, he even said that he liked me. He said that he would kidnap me and make me his concubine after this matter was over." "I almost vomited," Dongfang Zhengpai said shamelessly. Everyone looked at Dongfang Zhengpai and widened their eyes. "You vomited?" "I even vomited. Do you think Kong Mok would be interested in that fat pig of yours?" Furthermore, Kong Mok mentioned a few names when he was in the formation, such as the sect leader of the blood-sealing sect and the sect leader of the true self sect. They were all Kong Mok's next targets. Dongfang Zhengpai continued. "What? Bastard!" Two angry shouts came from the crowd. Everyone looked over. However, the two people in the crowd were so angry that their faces turned red. Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. "So it's Sect Lord Blood Sealing and Sect Lord True Self. You two should be careful in the coming days. This Kong Mok is not human." "Brat, what nonsense are you talking about?" the two of them said angrily. Dongfang Zhengpai looked hurt. "I didn't say it. It was Kong Mok. I'm in the same boat as you. You should know that no one would slander themselves for no reason. It's really Kong Mok. His taste is too disgusting. Take care of yourselves." "Ah, bastard," the sect leader of the blood-sealing sect said angrily. "Oh, that's right. I remember Kong Mok also said that there's no one he can't get his hands on. You two, be careful. Let's work together." Dongfang Zhengpai sighed. "Let's work together?" The dozens of sect leaders thought about Dongfang Zhengpai's words and shivered. "Everyone, let's be careful. Kong Mok has a group of lackeys who search for people for him." Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. Suddenly, a cultivator's expression changed. "No, I remember now. One of Kong Mok's subordinates has been wandering around my base recently." As soon as that person spoke, everyone's gazes turned to him. Dongfang Zhengpai said with a worried expression, "Fellow cultivator, you should pray for yourself." Dongfang Zhengpai's words made that cultivator break out in cold sweat. "Kong Mok, you pervert." That cultivator shouted angrily as if he had been greatly humiliated. The gazes of the people around him became sympathetic. At this point, Dongfang Zhengpai had completely demonized Kong Mok in everyone's hearts. The masculine Kong Mok? One could imagine how much blood Kong Mok would spit out when he heard the news. Asking for leave, "I'm very sorry." Sometimes when Guanchi caught a cold, he would update while sick. However, this time was different. His family's elder was critically ill and he had to ask for leave. Sorry. Leave notice Guanchi's grandmother passed away. I'm asking for leave for 3 days." Chapter 995. 4 days later, south of the Celestial Arcanum sect, at Kong Mok's base, Kong Mok looked at the Prophet Buddha. "Prophet, how are your injuries?" Kong Mok asked. "Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty. I'm much better now." By Detian, I didn't expect him to be so powerful. 10th level upper void stage? I can't even hold my own against him. The Prophet Buddha smiled bitterly. Kong Mok took a deep breath and nodded. "Yin Chuan has been lucky all these years. Your Majesty, it seems that our people who are scattered all over the place have been attacked for some unknown reason recently?" Prophet Buddha asked curiously. Kong Mok frowned and nodded. "That's right. At first, I thought it was Yin Chuan's doing. However, after a few dozen attacks, I realized it couldn't be Yin Chuan's doing. The people who attacked us are from all over the continent. It can't be Yin Chuan's secret force. Then why? We didn't get any benefits in the fairy palace. Why are we being ostracized? I'm not sure. The injured people said they were enraged when they saw them. There's no explanation at all. Just when the two of them were at their wits' end because of the inexplicable blow to the great Buddhist minister. Your Majesty. Your Majesty. Cries of agony came from outside the hall. Soon, a group of people carried an official covered in blood into the hall. Beloved official, how are you? Kong Mok quickly went forward. The heavily injured official's face was covered in blood as he said, Your Majesty, I'm useless. I went to the blood-sealing sect to seek an audience with the sect master of the blood-sealing sect. However, the sect master of the blood-sealing sect attacked me without saying a word. I only managed to escape in a hurry. I didn't complete Your Majesty's mission. I couldn't persuade the sect master of the blood-sealing sect to surrender. Kong Mok's face twitched. In the end, he comforted the official. You've worked hard. Rest well. Yes. Everyone retreated. Only the Prophet Buddha remained. The two of them looked at each other. They were panicking. You have to find out what's going on. Kong Mok was enraged. Yes. The palace master of the Jade Palace requests an audience. A report came from outside the hall. Ma Daoquan? Why is he here? Didn't we ask him to secretly assist His Majesty in obtaining first place? Prophet Buddha asked with a frown. Let him in. Kong Mok was also confused. Soon, Ma Daoquan entered the main hall. She was none other than the palace master of Ning Chui Palace, who had been discovered by Ninth Rat and Kong Mok not long ago. The moment Ma Daoquan entered the main hall, he immediately bowed and said, Greetings, Your Majesty. Daoquan, why are you here? Kong Mok frowned. Your Majesty, I've heard some bad news about Your Majesty. Your Majesty's subjects have been attacked many times, so I had no choice but to come. Ma Daoquan said anxiously. Oh, do you know the reason? Kong Mok glared. Yes, Your Majesty. You've been slandered by Yin Chuan. Now, all the sect leaders fear you like snakes and scorpions. Ma Daoquan said anxiously. Yin Chuan? Slander? What's going on? Kong Mok frowned. Slander? A slander was enough to make all the sect leaders stand together against him. What kind of slander was that? Yin Chuan instigated the Eastern Orthodox faction to slander you. Ma Daoquan didn't know what to say. Say it. I'll pardon you. Kong Mok said anxiously. Say it. You're a man. Ma Daoquan looked at Kong Mok with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. A man? Kong Mok didn't react for a moment. Chapter 996. However, Kong Mok reacted quickly and shouted angrily. What? Bastard. I'm going to wipe out your entire family. Kong Mok roared at the top of his lungs. Ma Daoquan repeated what Dongfang Zhengpai had said that day, word for word. Bam! Kong Mok's eyes were bloodshot as he smashed the chair beside him. Lustful? You're interested in that fat pig from Dongfang Zhengpai, and you want to snatch that fat pig back to be your concubine? Hearing this, Kong Mok had the urge to vomit blood. No wonder. Prophet Buddha smiled bitterly. No wonder those faction leaders looked at the people from the great Buddha Empire like snakes and scorpions. This kind of slander was too despicable and filthy at the same time. Kong Mok was so disgusted that he wanted to go back and kill them. Your Majesty, it's good that you didn't. Ma Daoquan sighed. What? Even you suspect me? Kong Mok said angrily. No. I'm just thinking about how to resolve this slander. Ma Daoquan said immediately. Kong Mok was angry, and the two of them knew that, so they didn't care about Kong Mok's snort. Your Majesty, the plan to create a god is nearing. We have to get rid of this slander. Prophet Buddha said immediately. Then what do you think we should do? Kong Mok frowned. Your Majesty, I came here on my own accord to resolve this slander. If Your Majesty clarifies the matter, the faction leaders will not believe it. Therefore, I think it's best for Your Majesty to clarify this matter. At the same time, I'll criticize Yin Chuan's evil intentions on Your Majesty's behalf and let the faction leaders be wary of Yin Chuan. Ma Daoquan said. Kong Mok nodded. Your Majesty, after Ma Daoquan's explanation, I'll bring some people to visit those factions that attacked us. On one hand, we'll seek justice for our people. On the other hand, we'll pardon their wrongdoings at the right time to buy favors and make preparations for your Majesty to take them in. Prophet Buddha said, All right, I'll leave this matter to you. Kong Mok nodded. Yes. The two of them left the hall. Standing in the middle of the hall, Kong Moku thought of that fat pig Dongfang Zhengpai. His face twitched. That fat pig actually said that he wanted to take him as his concubine. We will definitely exterminate your entire clan. Kong Moku's eyes were filled with anger. Ma Daoquan's movements were extremely fast. While the surrounding sect leaders were demonizing Kong Mok to the extreme, Ma Daoquan timely cleared Kong Mok's name and pointed the spearhead at Eastern Orthodox sect. They said that this person was extremely despicable and shameless. In a valley outside the archaic Arcanum sect, Rin Shu, who had been injured by Kong Mok not long ago, once again summoned a group of rats to gather information. Ha, Kong Mok, to think that you would have such a day. This Dongfang Zheng sect is indeed a member of my generation. Rin Rat said excitedly. Not long ago, the grudge of his egg being injured was still fresh in Hydra's mind. Although Ninth Rat was slapped to death, it was also extremely narrow-minded. Seeing Kong Moku suffer, it naturally took pleasure in his misfortune. Squeak, squeak, squeak. A fat rat reported again. Hearing Big Rat's report, Ninth Rat's eyes rolled again. The wise Buddha brought a group of people to visit the encampments of the major sects. Could it be that he wants to dissolve this slander? Ma Daoquan cleared Kong Mok's name. Ha! The time for Rat Grandpa to take revenge has come. Wise Buddha, on the day when Rat Grandpa was injured, you chased me for so many days and still told me that sex is the leader of all evil? Bah! Let's see if Rat Grandpa doesn't kill you. Ninth Rat's face revealed a trace of hatred. Chapter 997. Sealing Blood Sect's Encampment. Inside a large hall. At this moment, a group of practitioners was standing. Everyone looked at the person leading them. Sealing Blood Sect's Sect Master. Why did you call us here? What life and death matter? Everyone frowned and looked at the man leading them. The man leading them looked at everyone and said, Greetings, Sect Masters. Today, I invited everyone here, not because of my own intentions, but because of someone else's request. Moreover, this matter concerns our honor. We need to face it together. Oh, the 9 sect masters frowned and looked at Sealing Blood Sect's sect master. At this moment, a green-robed practitioner walked out from the side hall. It was Runrat. Let's have Hall Master and say it. Sealing Blood Sect's sect master said solemnly. Runrat nodded and looked at the 10 powerful sect masters. Everyone looked at Runrat. Runrat took a deep breath and said, I have some friendship with Sealing Blood Sect's sect master, so I came here to inform him. Later, Sealing Blood Sect's sect master said that he wanted everyone to face it together, so I called everyone here. What's the matter? A scarlet-red practitioner shouted. Runrat glanced at him and said, Scarlet Red Sect's sect master? Just like the rumor's fiery temper. Let me introduce myself first. Yeah. Does anyone recognize me? Scarlet Red Sect's sect master raised his eyebrows and said, Who are you? Someone recognized him. You are Divine Sect's Sacred Grounds Rin Shunhol Master. Runrat? That's right. Runrat nodded. Scarlet Red Sect's sect master frowned. After all, to everyone, Sacred Grounds were of the same level as high-level sects. When a Sacred Grounds Hall Master spoke, the credibility was relatively high. Ren Shun Hall Master? What's the matter? Someone said. Taking a deep breath, Renrat said, Does everyone still remember the matter of Fairy Hall 8 days ago? Ha ha ha, of course I remember. Eastern Orthodox sect slandered Kong Moku, which disgusted the surrounding sect masters. They made such a big joke. Scarlet Red Sect's sect master laughed. Slander? Huh. Renrat revealed a disdainful smile. Everyone frowned and looked at Runrat. The Julu Academy and Confucius Lu Academy are the oldest academies in the world. Every great Confucian in the Julu Academy is full of righteousness. Confucian cultivators like them value their reputation the most. Why would the Eastern Orthodox need to defile others? What good would it do him? Ren Rat asked. He's a great scholar, a scholar. Although I've never seen him before, his reputation is quite high in the divine sect's sacred ground. He's righteous and never lies. He's the founder of the Julu Academy, the descendant of Invincible East. Would he defile himself? Ren Rat said with certainty. Everyone raised their eyebrows. There was a hint of wavering. But 3 days ago, Palace Master Ning Shui and Ma Daoquan personally cleared Kong Mok's name. Ma Daoquan and Kong Mok have a grudge against each other for killing his son. Moreover, Kong Mok has never heard of such news before. The Crimson Sect Master said with a frown. Ha ha ha, rumors? Would Kong Mok spread this kind of news? Ren Rat said disdainfully. Everyone frowned and looked at Ren Rat. I don't know if everyone knows that not long ago, I was chased by Prophet Buddha, Ren Rat said in a deep voice. I know about this. I even saw with my own eyes that Prophet Buddha chased after you. Not only me, but many sect masters should know about this. After all, you were in a stalemate for several days. Feng Shui's sect master said. Could it be that Kong Mok also took a liking to you? The Crimson Sect Master's eyes widened in surprise. Chapter 998. Ren Rat shook his head and said, Of course not. That day, I bumped into Kong Mok and Ma Daoquan's good deed. Everyone was surprised. All of you know that Ma Daoquan and Kong Mok have a reconcilable enmity. Why would Ma Daoquan speak up for Kong Mok? Ren Rat said disdainfully. Why? Everyone already had an answer in their hearts, but they still didn't believe it. Sigh, actually not long ago, I saw with my own eyes how Kong Mok subdued Ma Daoquan. Because of that, I was chased for millions of miles. At that time, Kong Mok hurriedly put on his clothes, so he sent his lackeys, the Prophet Buddha, to kill me to silence me. Fortunately, I escaped in the end. All the sect leaders felt a chill run down their spines. Was this for real? Kong Mok conquered Ma Daoquan? Thinking of this, everyone felt their hair stand on end. That's not right. The Prophet Buddha just visited me yesterday. He even abandoned our grudge against him. A sect leader frowned. Ren Rat sneered and said, That's because Kong Mok wants to do to you what he did to Ma Daoquan. What? The sect master jumped up in anger. And everyone, actually, when I bumped into Kong Mok, it was because I heard your names that I gathered all of you. Don't you all feel that you're much more handsome than ordinary people? Ren Rat said. Preposterous. The Scarlet Red Sect Master was instantly enraged. Great Confucian wouldn't sully his own reputation. I, Ren Rat, am the Palace Master of Divine Sect's sacred ground. Why would I lie to you? You've all been deceived by Kong Mok, Ren Rat said earnestly. Everyone's brows furrowed into a frown. You can't defeat the Prophet Buddha, sigh. Ren Rat sighed for everyone. Reporting. A voice came from outside the palace. Come in. Sect Master Feng Shui frowned. Soon, 2 disciples came in. Sect Leader. This is the Scarlet Sect Leader's disciple requesting an audience. One of them shouted, Disciple, why are you here? The Scarlet Red Sect Master frowned. Sect Master, the Prophet Buddha, came to seek an audience today. We told him that you weren't here, but he still left a letter for you. The disciple cried out. Hee, you're still as perverted as ever. Ren Rat sneered. The Scarlet Red Sect Master had a fiery temper. He immediately rushed over and tore the letter that his disciple sent over. Bastard, how dare you? Where is that ignorant prophet? The Scarlet Red Sect Master shouted in rage. I think he went to the True Self sect at that time, the disciple shouted. Bastard, he went to my sect? Another sect leader in the hall said angrily. Reporting. Another outer sect disciple came in to report. It was also the news of the Buddha. At the side, 9th Rat sneered inwardly. Uncle Rat analyzed your route, and that's why I invited all their sect masters here. Prophet Buddha, you'll suffer later. Reports of bad luck kept coming in. The faces of the sect leaders were extremely ugly. At the same time, he broke out in cold sweat. Under normal circumstances, Kong Mok's hobby could be treated as a joke. However, when it came to them, it was not as simple as a joke. All the people who had reached the upper emptiness realm felt a chill in their hearts. They even felt their scalps go numb. Sigh. Everyone, that's all I have to say. As for how to resolve this, you'd better be careful. Ninth Rat said with a sigh. Reporting. Sect Master, the Buddha Prophet requests an audience. Another disciple rushed into the hall. What? The sect leader's face changed. Immediately, the sect leader remembered that the Dongfang Zhengji sect had mentioned him that day. As long as Kong Mok had his eyes on something, there was nothing he couldn't get. The sect leader's face turned red with anger. Bald donkey, you're courting death, the sect leader said angrily. Everyone in the hall was also filled with righteous indignation. The Prophet Buddha is a very useful pawn of Kong Mok. Not only is he powerful, but his wisdom is also extraordinary. It can be said that he is brave and resourceful. It seems that the process of Ma Daoquan being conquered was planned by the Prophet Buddha. Everyone. Ninth Rat added fuel to the fire. Everyone immediately felt darkness in front of them. Kill this pervert, the sect leader said with bloodshot eyes. Okay. The group of sect leaders shouted in unison. Chapter 999. Blood-sealing Sect's Encampment. Prophet Buddha and his 10 disciples were standing at the outer plaza. One of the disciples frowned. Master, we went to 6 sects encampments in a row, but none of the sect leaders are here. Could something have happened? Shaking his head, Prophet Buddha said, No, the first few sects we went to, weren't they normal? Don't be impatient. Working for His Majesty is your fortune. If you can form good karma now, it'll be a merit for the great Buddha Empire. Yes, the disciples calmed down. The 10 disciples calmed down, but Prophet Buddha was a little annoyed. 6 times in a row, I hope it's just a coincidence. On the mountain, there was a formation set up to prevent outsiders from seeing what was going on, but those on the mountain could see what was going on. Rinrat led the 10 sect leaders to look at Prophet Buddha. The 10 sect leaders' faces turned red, their eyes spitting fire as they looked down. This bald donkey has guts. Let's go kill him together. Scarlet Red Sect's leader shouted. Wait. Rinrat suddenly shouted. Everyone looked at Rinrat. Everyone, I know that all of you still have some doubts about me. Rinrat said. Doubts? What doubts? Scarlet Red Sect's leader was puzzled. Although the other 9 sect leaders were furious, they still had some calmness. I'm sure everyone knows that Prophet Buddha went to your encampments for the same reason he came here. Why don't we let Blood-Sealing Sect's leader go down and ask him personally? Rinrat asked. Oh. Everyone looked at Rinrat in surprise. They had some doubts before, but now that Rinrat was so honest, their doubts were mostly gone. What's there to ask? Just kill this pervert. Scarlet Red Sect's leader shouted. Rinrat shook his head firmly and looked at Blood-Sealing Sect's leader. I know Blood-Sealing Sect's leader doesn't want to talk to him, but please verify it for everyone. After we go down, Prophet Buddha will definitely beat around the bush. If you don't want to say anything, just ask yourself, does Kong Mo want to take me as his concubine? Everything will be clear. Just ask him if he wants to take you as his concubine. The results will be out soon. Blood-Sealing Sect's leader was embarrassed. Ask this question? Who could open their mouths? However, looking at the expectant gazes of the other sect leaders, as well as their collective indignation, sect leader Feng Shui nodded his head in order to verify the truth. Under everyone's gazes, the Blood-Sealing Sect master flew down. What he didn't know was that Ninth Rat's words just now had a hint. Although Ninth Rat only emphasized one question, he added another question that could be replaced. Everyone stared intently below. When the Blood-Sealing Sect master landed, the Buddha of Prophets saw him, and his eyes lit up. That bright gaze made sect master Feng Shui feel extremely disgusted. Prophet greets sect master Blood-Sealing Sect. Prophet Buddha stepped forward with a smile. Greetings, Prophet Buddha. Why have you come? The Blood-Sealing Sect's sect master suppressed his disgust and said, I am here on behalf of His Majesty. Blood-sealing sect master, are you not going to invite me to your residence? Prophet Buddha asked politely. Sect master Feng Shui frowned. No need, Prophet Buddha. I just want to ask you a question. Oh, blood-sealing sect master, please speak. Prophet Buddha was slightly puzzled. Kong Mo Ku. Do you want to take me as your concubine? Blood-sealing sect master asked. But at this moment, he couldn't bring himself to say the words concubine. Chapter 1000. Not to mention the group of sect leaders behind him, there were also many disciples in his own sect. Concubine? Concubine my ass. Even saying that out loud was disgusting. His reputation might be ruined just like that. After choking for a while, he still couldn't bring himself to say the word concubine. He could only choose one of the two questions. Does Kong Mok want to take me as his concubine? The Prophet Buddha was slightly stunned. The Prophet Buddha could see the difficulty in the blood-sealing sect leader's words. There was also a trace of hesitation and even a slight struggle in his mind. The Prophet Buddha didn't know about Ren Shu's provocation earlier. When the Prophet Buddha saw this, he immediately felt a trace of excitement. Could it be that the blood-sealing sect leader is taking the initiative to submit to my empire? As the group of sect leaders waited on the mountain, the Prophet Buddha finally spoke. Our great Buddha imperial dynasty is famous in the West Divine Continent, and even the 10,000 Buddha's sacred ground is closely allied with us. His Majesty is talented and bold, and he will definitely unify the world in the future. There are countless heroes in the world, but not many can catch his attention. His Majesty values you very much, and as long as you are willing, he will definitely not treat you badly. Your blood-sealing sect will be valued by His Majesty because of you. As long as you are willing, His Majesty will definitely welcome you with open arms. The Prophet Buddha said with a smile. Welcome you with open arms? That was an idiom used to describe how welcoming a guest was. As long as a guest came, he would give up his master bedroom to the guest and his bed to the guest to rest in with the greatest etiquette. The Prophet Buddha meant that Kong Mok would definitely be extremely welcoming and respectful. However, at this moment, the blood-sealing sect leader felt that it was extremely grating. The truth was revealed. This Kong Mok was indeed perverted. On the mountain, Ren Shu was slightly stunned. He didn't expect the Prophet Buddha to be so cooperative. He was immediately overjoyed. I heard that Son of Heaven Mok is extremely domineering. He hasn't even arrived yet, and his lackey is already so brazen. Welcome you with open arms? He even prepared the bed. How disgusting. That day, the great scholar was right. Kong Mok will do anything to achieve his goal. There is no one he can't get. Sigh. There's no one he can't get. Ren Shu continued to provoke. Bald donkey, pervert, I'm going to kill you. The Scarlet Red sect master shouted angrily. Everyone had a herd mentality. The Crimson sect master's shout completely dispelled everyone's doubts. Roar. The group of sect masters was instantly enraged. At the foot of the mountain, Buddha Prophet was talking excitedly. Suddenly, he saw sect master Feng Shui's face turn ashen. He was puzzled. Sect master Feng Shui, what happened to you? What's wrong? This sovereign will kill you. Blood-sealing sect master immediately grabs his large blade and slashes down with a loud bang. What are you doing? Prophet Buddha was shocked. At the same time, 9 powerful auras rushed out from the array not far away. All of them were at the upper emptiness realm. Bald donkey die. The Scarlet Red sect master was the first to roar. Hand over your life. Die. Rumble. The furious killing intent of the 10 upper emptiness realm cultivators instantly swept towards the Prophet Buddha. Wait a minute, what's going on? Prophet Buddha's expression changed greatly as he tried to block the attack. Rumble. However, the 10 sect masters had already straightened out everything and understood everything. How could they have the time to explain it to him? Master, save me. A disciple, Jiaohu shouted. Rumble. Chapter 1001. How could this group of people escape from the encirclement of 10 upper emptiness realm experts? Other than the Prophet Buddha, the others were instantly killed. Bastards, you are all crazy. The prophet Buddha resisted in a sorry state. Die. Torrential flames. The Scarlet Sect leader immediately took out his treasure and released scorching flames. The prophet Buddha was besieged by 10 upper emptiness realm experts and immediately fled in fear. However, 10 upper emptiness realm experts besieged one person. How could they let him escape? He could only take out his Buddhist commandment blade and resist in the chaos. Rumble. The battle became more and more intense. For a moment, a large number of mountains and rivers were shattered and gravel soared into the sky. The powerful movement immediately made the other sect leaders puzzled. They all rushed to the center of the battle. Even Kong Mok frowned when he heard the sound of the enormous impact. What happened? Kong Mok frowned slightly. However, he still flew to the sky with a group of officials and flew to the distant battlefield. When Kong Mok arrived, a large number of cultivators had already gathered around. "It's the Prophet Buddha?" one of the officials exclaimed. In the battlefield, the Prophet Buddha was in a sorry state. His right hand that was holding the Buddhist commandment blade was cut off and thrown away. His upper body was frozen and his lower body was charred. He waved an alms bowl in his hand and resisted the attacks of the 10 upper emptiness realm experts with difficulty. The Prophet Buddha was on the verge of death. Roar, His Majesty will definitely avenge me. The Prophet Buddha shouted angrily. This was the most inexplicable battle. Was he going to die without knowing what happened? The Prophet Buddha was extremely depressed. "Bastard, stop!" Kong Mok suddenly shouted. Kong Mok rushed into the battlefield with a group of officials. Boom! Kong Mok's strength was indeed powerful. With a fierce attack, the battlefield was instantly messed up. Under the huge force, the 10 sect leaders were instantly forced to retreat. Of course, strength was only one aspect. The 10 sect leaders were traumatized when they saw Kong Mok and retreated in fright. The 10 sect leaders looked at Kong Mok in shock and doubt. It was as if they were afraid that they would fall into Kong Mok's hands. "Pooh! Your Majesty, thank you, Your Majesty." The Prophet Buddha spat out a mouthful of blood and cried out bitterly. "What happened? Why are they besieging you?" Kong Mok shouted. "I don't know," the Prophet Buddha said gloomily. Kong Mok's eyes hardened as he turned to look at the 10 sect leaders. "Why did you kill my subjects?" Kong Mok asked coldly. "Why? Kong Mok, you pervert." The Scarlet Red Sect Master was instantly enraged. "Don't be afraid. Today, we'll execute this demon on the spot." Sect Master Feng Shui said angrily. Although Kong Mok's eyes were fierce, he was at a loss. Had these people lost their minds? "Prophet Buddha, how have you been?" Suddenly, a voice came from the side. Everyone looked over, only to see Ninth Rat slowly walk over to where Prophet Buddha's severed arm was and remove the Buddhist commandment blade from it. "Rinshu, it's you." Prophet Buddha immediately understood that it was definitely Ninth Rat who instigated it. However, he did not understand how it was done. Kong Mok also looked at Rinrodin coldly. But Ninth Rat stared at Prophet Buddha and said, "Prophet Buddha, your lower body has been roasted to a crisp by the Crimson Sect Master." The Prophet Buddha glared at Renrat. "I remember when you were chasing me that day. You told me that you were the leader of all evils. Do you still remember?" Ninth Rat asked. When the experts heard Ninth Rat's question, they were at a loss for a moment. They did not know what he was trying to say. Ninth Rat continued, "I'll return this Buddhist commandment blade to you. Your thing is already charred. Take this opportunity to cut it off yourself." After the Buddhist commandment blade was thrown away, everyone followed Ninth Rat's words and looked at the Prophet Buddha's charred lower body. The Prophet Buddha. Chapter 1002. Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan was in the side hall. Sima Yuntian, who was now Li Si, stood in front of Yin Chuan. Meng Ling Tian stood beside Li Si and smiled at Yin Chuan. Lu Jin stood respectfully behind Yin Chuan. Dongfang Zhongpai stood on both sides. Yin Chuan has already agreed. "Li Si, you have to thank me," Dongfang Zhongpai said with a smile. "If Dajin can get Li Si, it's like getting an arm," Yin Chuan said with a smile. Li Si looked at Yin Chuan and frowned. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. This feeling didn't come from the Julu academies when duel. It was as if there was a sense of familiarity. Yin Chuan, Li Si is a paragon of the Julu Academy. If I let you have him, what position will you give him? Meng Lingtian said with a smile. Yin Chuan looked at Meng Lingtian and took a deep breath. Dajin didn't have a prime minister position because there hasn't been a candidate that I'm satisfied with. I've seen Mr. Li Si's abilities, and he's indeed extraordinary. Since Mr. Li Si is interested in the position of prime minister, then let's start with the position of senior secretary. From today onwards, I appoint Li Si as the senior secretary of the prime minister's residence. He'll be a grade 5 official. A god investiture decree was issued. The fortune clouds in the distant Yin capital suddenly surged violently. Your subject, Li Si, greets your majesty. Li Si bowed respectfully. Yin Chuan accepted the bow, and Li Si bowed. At this moment, both of them frowned. It was as if there was some kind of resonance between the bow and the acceptance. It was as if everything was supposed to be like this. Li Si and Yin Chuan both revealed a trace of surprise. What's wrong? Meng Lingtian asked curiously. Li Si immediately turned around and shook his head. Nothing. I'll have to trouble you with the archaic sect leader. All right. Meng Lingtian nodded with a strange look on his face. After sending Meng Lingtian off, Li Si still looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. Yin Chuan naturally understood the Julu Academy's intentions. When Li Si entered Ajun, he would at most be a visiting professor. However, Yin Chuan was confident that one day, Li Si would definitely enter Ajun. Li Si, we understand your capabilities. However, in the Great Jun, we have to make a name for ourselves through meritorious deeds. Therefore, we can only wrong you for the time being. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Your Majesty worries too much. Since I've entered Great Jun, I naturally understand my position. From today onwards, Your Majesty doesn't need to care about my other identities. From today onwards, I'm the chief clerk of Great Jun's Prime Minister's estate. If Your Majesty has any instructions, feel free to let me know. Li Si smiled. Looking at Li Si, Yin Chuan nodded in satisfaction. What are Meng Lingtian and Kong Daoqiu doing at the heart of the clouds? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Not just the two of them. Zhu is also at the heart of the clouds. Your Majesty should know that the god-making plan this time is basically the archaic mysteries sect attaching itself to a certain hero. Using the special ability of fate cultivation, it will assist and nurture an ancient godlike existence. Li Si explained. Ancient godlike existence? Yin Chuan frowned slightly. Like goddess Shi Chun, or the immortal world's ambitious hero, Jing Ming, not long ago. Although the archaic mysteries sect rarely travels the world, its foundation is extremely solid. Especially in the immortal world, it's one of the great powers that watches over the world tree. It's not an exaggeration to use all their strength to create a god. Li Si said in a low voice. Meng Lingtian, Kong Daoqiu, and Zhu are accompanying the heart of the clouds so that they can get more attention from the clouds. Your Majesty will be competing among the heroes next. Similarly, Meng Lingtian, Kong Daoqiu, and Zhu will also be competing among the upper echelons. All of this is to increase the importance of the archaic mysteries sect leader. Li Si explained. Chapter 1003. Oh, so winning the championship is just one of the reasons? Winning the championship may not be enough to gain the recognition of archaic arcanum sect? Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. Yes. Li Si nodded. After a moment of silence, Yin Chuan looked at Li Si again and said, God-making plan? Li Si, I want you to gather information on the experts from all over the world. I need to expand my forces in this competition. Yes, Li Si replied. Blood-sealing sex encampment. I'll return this Buddhist commandment blade to you. That thing of yours is burnt. Take this opportunity to cut it off yourself. The Buddhist commandment blade was thrown away. Everyone followed Ren Shu's words and looked at the burnt lower part of Prophet Buddha. Prophet Buddha? Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha! The laughter of countless cultivators could be heard from all directions. Prophet Buddha's face flushed red. He pointed at Renshu and trembled. Pooh! He spat out a mouthful of blood. You scoundrel again, Kong Mok said coldly. Renshu naturally retreated to the side of the 10 sect masters. Kong Mok, I saw everything before you injured me. Renshu shouted. You saw everything? So what if you saw it? Do you think you can escape today? Kong Mok said coldly. Escape? Why should I escape? With Ma Daokuan as an example. Do you think the sect masters will ignore him? If we don't work together today, the sect masters here will be the next Ma Daokuan. Renshu rebuked angrily. Kong Mok didn't understand what was going on. Everyone, now is the best time. If you don't want to be Kong Mok's concubine, then kill him. Kill Kong Mok here. Renshu suddenly shouted. His concubine? The 10 sect masters suddenly quivered. Kill. Scarlet Sect Master was the first to fly into the sky. Kill. The 10 sect masters rushed forward together. Kong Mok's face changed. The faces of the officials also changed. They immediately went up to meet the attack. The faces of the sect leaders who were watching from all directions changed. Concubine? Kong Mok's concubine? What did that have to do with the Scarlet Red Sect and the Blood-Sealing Sect's sect masters? In an instant, countless Xiozha thought of the words of that person in Dongfangjung's sect. Could it be true? Someone asked in surprise. Ma Daokuan became Kong Mok's concubine? Someone was petrified. Rumble. The 10 great sect masters immediately charged forward without any regard for their lives. One by one, they took out their magic treasures. For a moment, a storm raged in the surroundings. Sand and pebbles flew everywhere. Countless cultivators retreated again and again. As for the 9th rat, who was shouting the loudest under the sudden chaos, it drilled into the ground. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn 1,000 miles away from the battlefield, 9th rat emerged from the ground. Looking at the chaotic battlefield in the distance, 9th rat sneered, Humph. Bastards, are you crazy? Kong Mok roared amidst the chaos. Protect his majesty. Help. This inexplicable battle lasted for an entire day. Kong Mok sacrificed more than 100 of his subordinates. He returned to his encampment with grievous injuries. As for the disciples of the 10 great sect masters, more than half of them were killed or injured. 4 of the 10 great sect masters died. It was obviously impossible for Kong Mok to subdue these people. Before he left, Kong Mok gradually understood everything. Back at his encampment, bang! He smashed a tea set with a palm. 9th rat, Yin Chuan, I must kill you. Kong Mok roared with red eyes. Chapter 1004. Prophet Buddha picked up his severed arm and reattached it, but the injuries on his body were not something that could be healed in a short period of time. He bitterly said, Your Majesty, I did not expect Renshu to be as shameless as the Eastern Orthodox sect. 2 sluts. Kong Mok gritted his teeth. Just as the two were fuming, a white-robed man walked in. It was Kong Daochio. Kong Daochio frowned and looked at Kong Mok. Kong Mok, how did you do it? Didn't I tell you? The God Creation Plan competition has already started. The disciples of the Archaic Mysteries sect have already recorded all of your performances. I told you to increase your prestige during this period of time, to stand out among the heroes and subdue as many sects as possible. But what about you? You stood out, but you did such a dirty thing? You're a man? You fought over a man? Even if you're embarrassing yourself, don't do it here. Kong Daochio said angrily. Kong Daochio was furious, but Kong Mok was even more furious. He had not done anything. He had been slandered. He had been slandered by 2 sluts. After taking a few deep breaths, Kong Mok did not know how to reply to Kong Daochio. I'll help you suppress UNXIN. Don't let anything happen during this period of time, Kong Daochio said with a frown. Kong Mok's face twitched. It was as if he was purposely causing trouble. Kong Daochio flung his sleeves and left, leaving behind a gloomy Kong Mok. Your Majesty, things have not been going well for us recently. Prophet Buddha sighed with a frown. It's all Yin Chuan's fault. If it wasn't for Yin Chuan, there wouldn't be so much trouble, Kong Mok said with a trace of hatred. Your Majesty suddenly has a feeling. Prophet Buddha said bitterly. Our current situation might not be over yet. Prophet Buddha said with a strange tone. Ma Daoquan's Ningxue Palace was a middle sect in the North Divine Continent. It was also a chess piece that Kong Mok had placed in the North Divine Continent. Ningxue Palace was not far from the archaic mysteries sect. At this moment, a group of uninvited guests had arrived outside Ningxue Palace. The two leading them were Mohina Dojin and Yang Zigu of the Great Revelation Sacred Ground. Behind Mohina Dojin and his son, there were more than 200 black-robed figures. Each of them was emitting an extremely evil aura. The 200 black-robed figures landed on the summit of a mountain. The evil aura they emitted caused the surrounding flowers and trees to wither instantly. Father, according to the news from the Archaic Arcanum sect, this congealed jade palace is Kong Mok's chess piece? Yang Zigu asked coldly. Mohina Dojin nodded. In the past, Kong Mok brought 20 Upper Void Realm experts to the Great Zhao Holy Ground, wanting to subdue us and snatch our Great Zhao Holy Ground. Father, are you going to take revenge today? Yang Zigu asked curiously. That's right, Kong Mok. Humph. Mohina Dojin snorted coldly. Target, Ning Chui Palace. Raze it to the ground. Leave no one alive. Kill, kill, kill. Mohina Dojin ordered. Yes. The black-robed figures behind him replied stiffly. Boom. The 200 black-robed figures charged forward. In an instant, the evil aura around the 200 black-robed figures soared to the sky. Before they arrived, the sky had already been dyed black by the evil aura. The sky darkened in an instant. The group of Ning Chui Palace disciples immediately noticed the abnormality. Two of them instantly rushed out and charged towards a group of black-robed figures. Stop! Who are you? One of them shouted angrily. Boom! The two Ning Chui Palace disciples who rushed out first were instantly smashed into pieces by a black-robed figure's palm. Chapter 1005. Outside the Celestial Arcanum sect, congealed Jade Palace's base. A group of disciples stood in front of Ma Daoquan with their heads lowered, as if they were reporting something. Bastards, a bunch of idiots. Ma Daoquan roared in shame. Kong Mok was the main character of this incident, and Ma Daoquan's image seemed to be even worse. Hearing the reports, Ma Daoquan's face turned black. This slander was too despicable. The disciples were submissive and didn't dare to say anything. Just as Ma Daoquan was about to continue raging, his expression suddenly changed, and he turned to look towards the southeast. Not good. There's a change in congealed Jade Palace's virtue, cloud ocean. Ma Daoquan's face changed. Stepping forward, Ma Daoquan was about to go back, but when he turned around, he frowned and said, You, go inform the great Buddha Emperor that someone wants to destroy my congealed Jade Palace. I'll go back first. Yes. The disciple was at a loss. Who? Ma Daoquan brought a group of experts and quickly headed towards congealed Jade Palace. The disciples looked at each other in dismay. Kong Mok's base. What? Someone wants to destroy congealed Jade Palace? Who? Yin Chuan? Rin Shu? Kong Mok's face sank. I don't know. Master is already gone and asked me to report to the great Buddha Emperor. The disciple said respectfully. Kong Mok's face was gloomy. Your Majesty, congealed Jade Palace is a middle sect, and this place isn't too far from congealed Jade Palace. If someone wants to destroy congealed Jade Palace, it means that the person is strong. Your Majesty should be careful, Prophet Buddha said while dragging his injuries. Strong strength? I have a stomach full of anger during this period of time. He's courting death. Kong Mok's face turned cold. Gathering a large number of officials, Kong Mok quickly headed towards congealed Jade Palace. Congealed Jade Palace. Rumble. 200 black-robed people's evil aura surged into the sky as they crazily attacked the formation. The congealed Jade Palace's formation shook. Impossible, even 10 fifth-level Upper Void Realm experts can't break my formation. This. A congealed Jade Palace disciple cried out in terror. Boom. Under another impact, the grand formation shattered with a loud bang. Kill! The 200 black-robed men roared in unison. In an instant, each of them brandished their pitch-black swords. Once the evil chi was released, it instantly dyed the surrounding void black. The entire Ningxue Palace was shrouded in an evil aura. Impossible. Inside congealed Jade Palace, screams of agony continued. The 200 black-robed men displayed an extremely demonic strength. It was a one-sided massacre as they crazily massacred the disciples of Solid Jade Palace. Kill! 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 Mohina Dojin and Yang Zigu stood at the peak of a mountain and looked coldly at the scene before them. In the congealed Emerald Palace, there were several million disciples. In an instant, their internal organs and limbs were sent flying, and their blood was turned into mist by the experts. The entire congealed Emerald Palace was shrouded in blood mist. Father, in the past few decades, the strength of this group of people has been raised by you to the upper void stage. Father, you're too amazing. Even Jingming in the past couldn't compare to you. Yang Zigu cried out excitedly. Mohina Dojin smiled with satisfaction, but he still shook his head and said, "Don't speak ill of Jingming." Huh? Yang Zigu didn't understand. Narrowing his eyes, Mohina Dojin sighed slightly and said, "The current me is still not her match, but one day we will reach the same height as her." We? Yang Zigu was at a loss. Mohina Dojin shook his head and didn't explain. Chapter 1006. The two of them continued to watch the massacre. Whoosh! A ray of light shot over from afar. Ma Daoquan had arrived at Ningxue Palace with a group of experts. Ma Daoquan was enraged when he saw the massacre. Bastard! Bastard! Ma Daoquan roared as he took out his saber and charged into the battlefield. Boom! He forced a black-robed man back with his saber. However, the black-robed man quickly reacted. One of them might not be able to defeat you, but 10 of them? Roar! The group of black-robed men charged at Ma Daoquan. In the blink of an eye, Ma Daoquan's group was dragged into the battlefield. Mohina Dojin sneered. Palace Master, save me. Cries of agony could be heard. The black-robed men were all at the upper void realm. Although they were the weakest upper void realm, there were 200 of them. How could a middle-level sect be a match for them? Kill! 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 When Kong Mok arrived, Ningxue Palace was almost completely wiped out. Kong Mok brought more than 100 officials with him. His expression changed. The black-robed men destroyed Ningxue Palace? They destroyed his forces in the North Divine Continent? Roar! Kong Mok roared angrily. Your Majesty, save me. Ma Daoquan roared in the battlefield. Attack! Kong Mok shouted. Yes. Boom! A group of experts charged into the battlefield. Kong Mok also charged into the battlefield. Mohina Dojin's face lit up with joy. Protect my son. Mohina Dojin shouted to the black-robed men behind him. Yes. The group of black-robed men replied. Whoosh! Mohina Dojin charged into the battlefield and appeared in front of Kong Mok in the blink of an eye. Mohina Dojin, it's you. Kong Mok's eyes flashed with anger. Mohina Dojin sneered. Kong Mok, it's impolite not to reciprocate. Don't leave a single one alive. Kill them all. Yes. The black-robed man with an evil aura immediately rushed forward. Kill them. Kong Mok shouted coldly. Yes. A group of officials quickly rushed into the battlefield. However, Kong Mok soon discovered that something was amiss. That was because those black-robed men were simply too powerful. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, Kong Mok's subordinates were all suppressed. Today, none of you can leave. Mohina Dojin sneered. Might of the sun, Mohina Dojin shouted, and a huge golden light shot down from the sun, instantly enveloping Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin's body was covered in flames. Purple Star, Kong Imoku also activated the power of the stars. Suddenly, the Emperor's star shot out a dazzling light. Mohina Dojin and Kong Imoku fought fiercely. Boom! A monstrous storm swept up in all directions. Kong Imoku and Mohina Dojin were in a deadlock, while the black-robed men were constantly slaughtering Kong Imoku's officials. "Your Majesty, save me!" the officials cried out in Jiahu. Among the officials, Palace Master Ning Chui could no longer hold on and was killed by the 10 black-robed men. The 10 victorious black-robed men quickly rushed in front of Kong Imoku. Together with Mohina Dojin, they surrounded Kong Imoku and killed him. "No, impossible!" Kong Imoku shouted in shock. At this moment, Kong Imoku was actually suppressed by a group of black-robed men and Mohina Dojin. This was something that would have been impossible in the past. The power of the group of experts was like a miniature black hole, strangling Kong Imoku in the center. Yang Zigu held a huge round wheel in his hand that was like a sun, pressing down on Kong Imoku's long blade. Chapter 1007. Crack! 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 Kong Imoku was in a sorry state. "No!" Kong Imoku screamed. He had yet to conquer the world, and he had yet to defeat all the heroes in the world. How could he die here? Kong Imoku's eyes were bloodshot. He was fighting against 20 people by himself as he fought against Mohina Dojin. "Oomph! Kong Imoku, today is the day you die." Mohina Dojin roared as he activated his Dharma treasure. Rumble! The air around them exploded violently. It seemed like Kong Imoku was about to die. Suddenly, a powerful aura descended from the sky. A huge bamboo slip came crashing down from the sky. The black-robed men's expressions changed when they sensed the enormous aura. 10 black-robed men shot up into the sky and slashed at the bamboo slip with their swords. However, the bamboo slip crushed everything into powder. Boom! The 10 black-robed men at the first-level upper void stage were instantly blasted away along with their swords. The huge bamboo slip came crashing down on Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin's expression changed, and he slammed the huge round wheel in his hand into the sky. Boom! The huge round wheel only lasted for a moment before it could no longer withstand the impact. It was a disaster that came crashing down on Mohina Dojin. "Father!" Yang Zigu cried out in shock from afar. After losing Mohina Dojin's encirclement, the pressure on Kong Imoku was greatly reduced. While blocking the black-robed men, Kong Imoku saw the bamboo slip in the sky. Kong Daoqiu stood on top of the bamboo slip. Kong Daoqiu stepped on the bamboo slip and pressed down with an unstoppable force. "Celestial?" Mohina Dojin's expression changed. "Maori, you've crossed the line," Kong Daoqiu said coldly. Mohina Dojin's expression hardened. "Cross the line? Oomph. I'm the one who set the line. Celestial? So what?" Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Above Mohina Dojin's head, a black lotus flower suddenly appeared. The lotus flower spun slowly, and large amounts of black energy surged into Mohina Dojin's body. Mohina Dojin instantly turned pitch black, and at the same time, an extremely powerful and ferocious aura emanated from his body. As soon as the aura appeared, Kong Mok's expression changed. "Stronger than last time?" Kong Mok asked in surprise. Mohina Dojin punched the bamboo scroll. With a single punch, a gigantic pitch-black fist aura appeared. Boom! The fist energy collided with the bamboo slip, and the bamboo slip paused for a moment. Humph! Kong Daoqiu's aura of righteousness suddenly burst out, and white light radiated from the bamboo scroll. The bamboo slip sank again. Mohina Dojin's expression changed. It was obvious that he could no longer stop the bamboo slips from sinking. "Lotus God, lend me your strength. Lend me your strength." Mohina Dojin roared. With a roar, the lotus flower above his head suddenly surged with violent black energy again, and the black energy surged into Mohina Dojin's body. Crackle, crackle, crackle. 2 enormous horns suddenly sprouted from Daolord Black Sun's head. Mohina Dojin's strength rose again. Boom! The fist aura exploded with even greater power, and the surrounding forest and land were instantly flattened by the aftershock. Even Kong Daoqiu was separated from Mohina Dojin by this ferocious force. Boom! Waves of air surged. The battle stopped. Kong Daoqiu pulled Kong Mok and retreated far away. All the officials of the Great Buddha Empire were dead, and none were left alive. Almost 100 of Mohina Dojin's subordinates had died, but there were still more than 100 black-robed men supporting Yang Zigu. Mohina Dojin, with horns on his head and a black lotus flower above his head, looked at Kong Mok and Kong Daoqiu with a ferocious expression. Roar! Mohina Dojin roared coldly. He looked at Mohina Dojin in shock. Kong Daoqiu took a deep breath and said with an ugly expression, "Let's go." He pulled Kong Mok and shot away. Mohina Dojin did not chase after them, and he watched coldly as the two left. On the way back, Kong Daoqiu's expression was ugly, as if he was thinking of something. Kong Mok was the same. Not only had he lost, but more than 100 of his officials had died, and even Ning Chui Palace had been destroyed. Everything was not going well. It was more than that. Chapter 1008. Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan held a document in his hand while Li Si stood in front of him. Your Majesty, this is how congealed Jade Palace was destroyed. It seems like the myriad profundity demonic lotus that Mohina Dojin refined is really extraordinary. Not only did it allow Mohina Dojin to fight against Kong Daoqiu, who was a celestial, but it also raised the strength of all 200 disciples to the first-level upper void stage. Li Si said in a deep voice. Yin Chuan took a look and passed the information to Bai Ditian. Bai Ditian quickly scanned through it. Finally, he smiled. Meng Sansheng Mohina Dojin, there are still a lot of magical treasures and evil techniques in this world. Bai Ditian's words were very vague. He was sighing at Yin Chuan's dream of the heavenly secrets. The dream of the heavenly secrets was too miraculous, but there were countless secret techniques in the world. There might be some that could compare to it, just like what Mohina Dojin had done. Downward Black Sun hadn't been idle for the past 50 years. Downward Black Sun hadn't been idle either. Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes, then nodded and said, Another immortal? The great Zheng Imperial Dynasty must ascend to the Celestial Dynasty as soon as possible. After this battle, we must find a way to pacify the great Zhao Holy Ground and obtain immeasurable merit to increase our providence and ascend to the Celestial Dynasty. Yes, Li Si replied. Your Majesty, this is the information I've collected during this period of time. It's the topographic map of the various sects' encampments. Li Si handed over another map. Yin Chuan took it, looked at it, and nodded. Li Qing, you've worked hard. It's my duty. Li Si smiled. Yin Chuan nodded. It starts tomorrow. I wonder how much we will be able to gain from this election. Yin Chuan sighed slightly. While everyone was talking, the Holy Maiden stepped into the Grand Hall. Everyone fell silent and looked at the Holy Maiden. Fairy walked in front of Yin Chuan. Although he could not see, there was a complicated expression on his face. The rules are out? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Zhao Afang nodded and handed over 2 jade talismans. Yin Xin has already sent all her disciples to inform the various elites. Every organization will receive 2 life talismans, said Zhao Afang. Taking the jade talisman, Yin Chuan asked curiously, Life talisman? The Celestial Arcanum sect is shrouded in the divine, slaying life formation, which is the fog outside. Once the divine, slaying life formation is activated, it will directly affect the birth chart and seal the power of the birth chart. No matter how strong one is, they will be bound to be immortal. Zhao Afang explained. God's slashing life array? Yin Chuan's expression froze. These life talismans can counteract the power of the divine, slashing life formation. Each side will have 2 of them, which means that you can only have one assistant. By then, the sea of fog will be hundreds of feet tall, and the area it occupies will be 10 times larger, covering all the bases. As long as you are forced out of the fog sea, you will be eliminated until the last person appears. Zhao Afang explained. Yin Chuan nodded. During this time, can you see me? Yes, I and everyone in the Celestial Arcanum sect can use the life-stealing art to see everything inside. Zhao Afong nodded. Yin Chuan smiled and nodded. Seeing Zhao Afong leave, Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with reluctance. Your Majesty, you seem to treat Fairy very differently? Li Si asked curiously. Differently? If I say she is my wife, would you believe me? Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Oh, Li Si was surprised. At the same time, he seemed to be analyzing the authenticity of Huang Xiaolong's words. All right, all of you can fly out. By Ditian, and I will be enough. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yes, Lu Jin and Li Si answered. Chapter 1009. The Celestial Arcanum sect's sea of fog began to expand. In the blink of an eye, it had expanded by 10 times, enveloping all the encampments. At the same time, the Celestial Arcanum sect's disciples, like Zhao Afong, flew to all the encampments and explained the rules. In a valley, Yao Tianshang and Bai stood with their hands behind their backs. It's about to begin. Have you gathered all the information? Bai asked. Yao Tianshang nodded seriously. Yes, everything is here. Haha, the god's fate array before us is a good hunting ground. We will set off at midnight to subdue at least 4 sect leaders of the Northern Divine Continent. Bai said seriously. At Kong Mok's base, Kong Daoqiu and Kong Mok stood together. Have you sent everyone away? Kong Daoqiu asked. Yes. Kong Mok nodded. You have suffered a great loss in the battle with the Archaic Mysteries sect. The Archaic Mysteries sect no longer thinks highly of you. However, it's not over yet. As long as you win, there is still hope. Kong Daoqiu sighed. We will. With you and me together, no one can stop us. Kong Mok said solemnly. Kong Daoqiu looked at Kong Mok with a complicated expression. At Mohina Dojin's base. Father, it's about to begin. Is the Archaic Mysteries sect really that powerful? Yang Zigu asked curiously. I don't know, but back then, Jing Ting held him in high esteem. Rumor has it that his Tao of seizing fate can even reverse the heavenly secrets. Don't worry, I'll definitely help you win the championship. Tao Lord Black Sun said solemnly. Thank you, Father, Yang Zigu said emotionally. At midnight, the Archaic Mysteries sect was surrounded by fog. However, there were many mountains that were more than 100 zhang tall. At the peak of the Archaic Mysteries mountain, a group of Archaic Mysteries sect disciples stood beside Zhao Afong and looked down at the fog sea. At midnight, the selection began. In the distance, there were many experts standing on the peaks of the mountains. These people could not participate and could only wait at the peak. At the peak of a mountain, the strength of the people in the fog sea is different. Won't the weaker ones be finished? Dongfang Zhengpai asked curiously. However, Li Si shook his head and said, No, the weak have their advantages. They can easily form alliances and form alliances. In this selection, the process will not matter, only the results. Just as the countless cultivators in the surroundings guessed, the first loud sound rang out in the fog sea. Boom! With a loud bang, a large amount of sand and stones flew into the sky. However, the fog did not roll over at all. It was as if the fog was not affected by the impact at all. Clearly, an internal battle had begun. Inside the fairy palace, Yan Chuan and Bai Ditian stood at the entrance of the hall. It's starting, let's go, Yan Chuan said in a deep voice. With a flick of his robe, Yan Chuan led Bai Ditian into the fog. Yan Chuan had a goal in mind. He bypassed the experts and headed straight for the blood-sealing sect's encampment. Boom, boom, boom. When Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian arrived, the blood-sealing sect's encampment was in the midst of an intense battle. The blood-sealing sect's sect master brought along an elder and was currently engaged in a fierce battle with 2 other experts. Roar! Scarlet Red sect's sect master, you are crazy. The blood-sealing sect's sect master shouted anxiously. Chun Shui, there is only one champion. Without you, my chances of becoming the champion are higher. The Scarlet Red sect's sect master smiled. Idiot, with our abilities, were we compared to the other heroes? Can you defeat Kong Mok? Can you defeat Mohina, Dojin, and the others? We need to form an alliance and chase out those heroes first. Chen Shui shouted. Chapter 10:10. The Scarlet Red Sect Master frowned slightly, as if he had realized something. His hand had also slowed down significantly. Who is it? Chen Shui suddenly exclaimed. Not far away, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian were watching quietly. Yin Chuan? Not good. The Scarlet Red Sect Master exclaimed. Scarlet Red Sect Master, let's stop fighting first. Let's force Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian out first. Chen Shui shouted. All right. The Scarlet Red Sect Master nodded. Yin Chuan smiled faintly as the two charged out. Stop right there. The Scarlet Red Sect Master's expression changed. However, in an instant, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian arrived in front of him. Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian each attacked the Scarlet Red Sect Master and Bai Ditian. Boom! Bai Ditian clawed, and the person following the Scarlet Red Sect Master flew into the air. Yin Chuan's fist also clashed with the Scarlet Red Sect Master's fist. Get out! Yin Chuan glared. The Scarlet Red Sect Master was sent flying into the air. No. Why is it like this? The Scarlet Red Sect Master exclaimed gloomily. Boom! The Scarlet Red Sect Master flew 300 meters and lost his qualification in the blink of an eye. The Scarlet Red Sect Master was not severely injured, but he lost his qualification in the blink of an eye. This made the Scarlet Red Sect Master very depressed. After flying out of the fog, the life talisman in his hand suddenly shattered. Without the protection of a life talisman, the Scarlet Red Sect Master no longer had the courage to continue. Sect Master, what should we do? The elder at the side asked. The Scarlet Red Sect Master's expression turned ugly as he said, What do you mean, what should we do? Go back. Below, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian surrounded the Scarlet Red Sect Master and Bai Ditian. Chen Shui's expression changed as he tried to flee. Chen Shui was indeed an upper void realm cultivator, but he was much weaker than Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian. If he fought head-on, he would end up like the Scarlet Red Sect Master. Sect Master, wait! Yin Chuan shouted. Chen Shui looked at Yin Chuan in surprise and doubt, but he still made a gesture of fleeing. Sect Leader Chen, so what if you manage to escape today? Your Bloodseal sect is close to my Great Zhen Imperial Dynasty. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Blood-sealing sect? Close to the Zhen? Chen Shui's expression changed. Yin Chuan, what is the meaning of this? Chen Shui's face was dark as he looked at Yin Chuan. At this moment, he was unwilling to leave. Just now, Sect Master Chen advised the Scarlet Blood Sect Master. I can see that Sect Master Chen is a smart person. Naturally, you can see through my intentions. Yin Chuan said with a smile. You want my blood-sealing sect to submit? Chen Shui sneered. Looking at Chen Shui, Yin Chuan said, Sovereign Chen, you should know very well how high your chances of success are in the Celestial Arcanum sect's God-making plan. Compare to me and Kong Mok. How high are your chances of success? Even if you are lucky, can the blood-sealing sect's power in the East Divine continent stop the Great Zhen and Great Zhao? Chen Shui's expression changed. You are about to make a move? Not just us. The entire world is making a move. Why is the Celestial Arcanum sect in such a hurry to start the God-making plan? Even in the upcoming Great Calamity, the Celestial Arcanum sect is not confident of surviving alone. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Great Calamity? The Celestial Arcanum sect is also. Chen Shui exclaimed in shock. At the same time, his expression changed. Chen Shui had felt this for a long time, but he was never willing to admit it. Sect Master Chen, you are indeed a genius to have single-handedly established the blood-sealing sect. However, you must know that even these great sects with tens of thousands of years of history are not confident of surviving. What can you do? I believe you have already known that the Jiulu Academy has sent Sin Yin Tian to my Great Zhen as a subject. How is your blood-sealing sect compared to the Jiulu Academy? How is your blood-sealing sect compared to the Celestial Arcanum sect? Yin Chuan took a step forward. Chen Shui looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. The blood-sealing sect is near my Great Jun and also borders the Great Zhao Holy Ground. My Great Jun Imperial Dynasty and the Great Zhao Holy Ground are about to have a decisive battle. Do you think the blood-sealing sect can survive alone? Yin Chuan smiled. What? You want to have a decisive battle with the Great Zhao Holy Ground? Chen Shui exclaimed in shock. What does the Great Zhao Holy Land count for now without the capital? Chen Shui, you are a talent. The Great Jin Empire urgently needs talents like you. The Great Jin Empire is about to take another step forward and become a heavenly empire. As long as you lead the blood-sealing sect to the Great Jin Empire as a subject, you will be opening up new territory for the Great Jin Empire. That will be a great achievement. After that, you will be able to enjoy the same karmic rank as you are now. How about it? Yin Chuan persuaded. I, Yin Chuan, promise to treat the blood-sealing sect well. I will treat all the subjects of the Great Jin Empire equally. Yin Chuan persuaded once more. Chen Shui's expression was extremely ugly. Sect Master, an elder at the side, said anxiously, "Don't be noisy. Let me think." Chen Shui took a deep breath and said. At the side, Yin Chuan and Bai Diqian waited patiently. Chapter 10-11. After a moment of silence, the blood-sealing sect's sect master hesitated. Sect Master, you are at the upper void realm. As long as you gather the virtue energy of the sect, no one can do anything to our blood-sealing sect. An elder said anxiously. Ha, no one can do anything to us? Not long ago, Congealed Jade Palace was destroyed. Dozens of years ago, our Great Jun Army's generals each took down a middle-level sect. The world is in chaos. Sect Master Chun, are you sure you can fight for supremacy in this chaotic world? Yin Chuan asked again. The elder, this. Chen Shui thought for a moment, then looked at Yin Chuan and said, Yin Di, I want to know when you will send out your troops. After this battle, Great Jun will send troops to attack the Great Zhao Holy Ground. Yin Chuan said with certainty. Yin Chuan's affirmation dispelled all of Chen Shui's doubts. He smiled bitterly and said, What kind of treatment will Yin Di give my blood-sealing sect? Sect Master, you can't. My blood-sealing sect may not. The elder said anxiously. Chen Shui waved his hand to calm the elder. Shaking his head, he said, I was the one who founded the blood-sealing sect. I'm even more reluctant to part with it than you are. However, I understand myself even more. Reaching the level of a middle-level sect is my current limit. Perhaps in a few thousand years, my strength will have taken a qualitative leap, and I will have even greater ambitions. But right now, I understand my position even more clearly. Elder Ma, you don't need to say anything more. Yes. The elder nodded angrily. Indeed, this one has studied your history. A promise is worth 1,000 gold. I hope Yindi will treat blood-sealing sect well. Chen Shui bowed heavily. At the same time, Chen Shui took out blood-sealing sect's Tian Su. The elder could only kneel down unwillingly. Don't worry. Yin Chuan, will do what I say. From today onwards, I bestow upon Chen Shui the title of Blood-Sealing Uncle. The disciples of Blood-Sealing sect will be conferred another title at a later date. Yin Chuan nodded. This subject, Blood-Sealing Uncle Chen Shui, greets your majesty. Chen Shui bowed respectfully. In the distant east divine continent, above the sea of merit clouds of blood-sealing sect, there was a sudden explosion. Boom! The surging merit flowed towards the Great Jun Imperial Dynasty, and nearly half of it was lost in the blink of an eye. Countless disciples of the blood-sealing sect looked at the sky in surprise. What happened? Why did my blood-sealing sect lose so much merit points? Sect Master, what happened? Countless disciples were jiaohu, while countless officials of the Great Jun Imperial Dynasty were looking at the surging providence in the sky with a look of pleasant surprise. As for the other half of the merit points, they would have to wait for Chen Shui to return and inform all the disciples before it would all flow to the Great Jin Empire. Inside the Sharpening God Life array. In another place, Zhu and Yao Tianshang were currently looking at the two men kneeling on one knee in front of them. The True Self sect, Wang Zhen and the entire True Self sect, are willing to serve the Yao imperial dynasty as subjects and pay our respects to your majesty. May your majesty live for 10,000 years. A kneeling man said respectfully. Ha! My beloved minister, please rise. I, Zhu, am a man of my word, and I will not let you down. Zhu said with a smile. In the East Divine Continent and North Divine Continent, large amounts of merit points were surging violently, and countless merit points were being transferred and converted. Yin Chuan and Zhu continued to move around, and according to their information, they were constantly recruiting experts. Of course, there were many experts who were not willing at all. When the two of them tried to recruit them, they immediately went berserk. However, the two of them did not mind. The hunting ground was huge, and if one place was not enough, there were many more. At Kong Mok's location, Sect Master Ma, do you think your sect can stop the Great Buddha Imperial Dynasty? Are you really not willing to submit to me? Kong Mok looked coldly at the two men who were bleeding from the corners of their mouths. Sect Master Ma wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, Humph, Kong Mok, a warrior can be killed but not humiliated. You pervert. I have already seen through you. I will not be subdued by you. Tui, let's go. Sect Master Ma brought a junior brother and soared into the sky, giving up on the opportunity in the blink of an eye. They flew out of the fog. Subdued? Kong Mok was slightly stunned. Then, Kong Mok reacted and said angrily, Submit your sister. At the side, Kong Daochio's expression was also ugly. Your mess is already deeply ingrained in people's hearts. Kong Daochio was speechless. Kong Mok's eyes were red with hatred. Yin Chuan, Dong Fongjing faction, Rinshu, one day, I will kill all of you. Boom, boom, boom. One by one, the cultivators were forced out of Great Zhen, and one by one, the experts were eliminated. Some of the experts who were eliminated stayed on the peaks of the surrounding mountains, waiting for the final result. However, there were some people who turned around and left. Within the array, the battles continued. 10 days and 10 nights later, most of the experts had been forced out. Beside a small lake, Zhu, Yao Tianshang, and 8 other cultivators looked coldly at the two people opposite them, Kong Daochio and Kong Mok. Zhu faced Kong Daochio. 30,000 years ago, the strongest person in the world, Kong Daochio said in a low voice. Zhu narrowed his eyes and said, 30,000 years ago, the Kong clan did not exist. Ma Fei, is your Kong clan from the celestial world? Kong Daochio smiled and did not explain. Are you not going to give in? Kong Daochio said in a low voice. Those who should have left have already left. There is no need to give in. Celestial? I also want to know how strong and celestial is. Huh. Zhu's eyes flashed with a strange light. I also want to know how strong the strongest person in this world is other than Jing Ting. Kong Daochio's eyes flashed with a strange light. Boom! The two of them instantly charged forward. Their palms collided, and a huge impact exploded within the Slash God Life array. On the other side, Yao Tianshang led the other 8 experts and attacked Kong Mok from all sides. In another valley, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian had already subdued 8 subordinates. At this moment, they were looking at the other two. It was as if they were forcing the other person to agree. Sect Leader Wu, look behind me. The 4 sect behind me have already joined Great Zhen. What does this mean? Yin Chuan smiled. Sect Leader Wu's face darkened. What? It means the people's hearts, the situation, and the will of the heavens. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Sect Leader Wu squinted his eyes, and his face turned ugly. Looking at the 4 sect leaders who had already submitted to Great Zhen, Sect Leader Wu's heart was filled with unwillingness. Just as Yin Chuan had said, joining Great Zhen now was to open up new territory for Great Zhen. Once Great Zhen sent troops to take them back, they would have nothing left. Yet, they had submitted to Great Zhen just like that. Sect Leader Wu's face changed drastically. Yin Chuan led 9 people and 4 Sect Leader Wu and his disciple to submit. The battle in the distance continued, but the atmosphere was extremely tense. Ah, Yin Chuan, you are really ambitious. Suddenly, a cold laugh sounded. Yin Chuan and the others turned to look. Mohina Dojin and Yang Zigu were standing halfway up a mountain. At this moment, they were looking coldly at Yin Chuan and the others. Mohina Dojin? Yin Chuan's face darkened. Chapter 10:12. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed coldly as he took a step forward. Bai Ditian saw Yin Chuan's actions and understood that Yin Chuan did not want him to interfere. Morning, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Mohina Dojin also looked coldly at Yin Chuan. Great Emperor de Jun? What did I just hear? Are you prepared to attack my great Zhao holy ground? Mohina Dojin asked coldly. Mohina Dojin's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He was forcing Yin Chuan to admit it. If Yin Chuan did not admit it, it would show that Yin Chuan was weak and these subjects would betray Yin Chuan. However, if Yin Chuan admitted it, Mohina Dojin would not mind killing Yin Chuan right now. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan seriously. Yin Chuan smiled and said in a low voice, "A great Zhao without Jingming is no longer a great Zhao. Morning, we do not have much enmity between us. However, your son Yang Zigu has tried to kill me many times. If you hand Yang Zigu over to me, my great Zhao will be at peace with your great Zhao." You Yin Chuan, Yang Zigu shouted in shock. Ha 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 ha. Mohina Dojin laughed loudly. His laughter was filled with murderous intent. As he laughed, his face turned sinister and a huge ball-shaped treasure appeared in his hand. Once the treasure appeared, it emitted a scorching light that suppressed Yin Chuan. Xing! The Jade Emperor's sword appeared and a blood-red light shot towards the huge ball. Boom! The huge explosion flattened all the mountains and rivers in all directions. Yin Chuan held the Jade King's sword and coldly looked at Mohina Dojin, who was holding the giant ball. I'm no longer the same as I was back then. Do you think you can do anything to me with just this little trick? I heard that you have already refined the 10,000 Wonders Demonic Lotus. Take out the 10,000 Wonders Demonic Lotus, Yin Chuan coldly said. At the same time, he wanted to know just how strange the myriad wonder Demonic Lotus was. Mohina Dojin's face sank. Then he sneered, "Since you're courting death, then don't blame me." As he spoke, the spherical Dharma treasure in Mohina Dojin's hand covered Yang Zigu to protect Yang Zigu. Following that, a black lotus slowly floated above Mohina Dojin's head. The lotus slowly rotated, emitting an extremely evil aura. In the blink of an eye, it dyed Mohina Dojin pitch black. Rumble. The flames around Mohina Dojin's body suddenly rose. The huge aura caused the surrounding soil to move. Although Yin Chuan was confident, he did not act rashly. Instead, his pupils shrank and turned blood red. At the same time, Yin Chuan's hair suddenly grew long and turned blood red. Roar! Yin Chuan, who was holding the Jade King's sword, was suddenly surrounded by a bloody mist. Under his feet, a huge sea of blood suddenly appeared on the ground. The sea of blood roiled as Yin Chuan stood on top of it. The sea of blood continued to revolve around him as if a demon god had descended. The powerful aura was not any weaker than Mohina Dojin's. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the sea of blood surged towards Dowlord Black Sun. Umph! Mohina Dojin's eyes turned cold. He formed a lotus hand seal with his hand. Boom! A huge black lotus illusion suddenly appeared on top of the sea of blood. Mohina Dojin stood on top of this huge black lotus illusion. The black lotus slowly rotated together with the 10,000 Wonders Demonic Lotus above Maori's head. In an instant, billowing evil aura rushed into the sea of blood. 10,000 swords! Yin Chuan coldly shouted. Suddenly, countless blood swords rushed out from the sea of blood and rushed towards Mohina Dojin. However, the evil aura quickly corroded. Yin Chuan sneered and threw the Jade King's sword towards the sea of blood. Chapter 10:13. Whoosh! The Jade Emperor's sword seemed to produce a strong suction force as it started to absorb the evil aura. How is that possible? Mohina Dojin exclaimed. How could the evil aura be absorbed by the sword? Slash. The Jade Emperor's sword slashed towards Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin opened his lotus hand seal as another lotus flew towards the Jade Emperor's sword. Boom! The sword and lotus clashed as a shockwave surged through the blood sea. Tens of thousands of sword chi waves rushed towards Mohina Dojin, but Mohina Dojin was safe and sound under the protection of the Black Lotus. Jade Emperor, take! Yin Chuan shouted. Boom! The Jade Emperor's sword suddenly absorbed all the evil aura in the Black Lotus as it slashed towards Mohina Dojin again. How is that possible? 10,000 lotuses bloom! Mohina Dojin exclaimed. In an instant, a large number of black lotuses flew towards Yin Chuan. The Jade Emperor's sword in the air seemed to produce countless sword shadows as it clashed with the black lotuses. At the same time, the black lotuses were absorbed. In an instant, the 10,000 lotuses were destroyed. No, what sword is this? How can it restrain my evil lotus? Mohina Dojin exclaimed. As he spoke, Mohina Dojin quickly took out a long sword and clashed with the Jade Emperor's sword. Boom! The sword blocked the Jade Emperor's sword, but the evil aura could not stop the Jade Emperor's sword from absorbing it. Lotus God, help me! Mohina Dojin exclaimed. Yin Chuan's eyes widened as he shouted, Bai Di Tian! Whoosh! Bai Di Tian understood and reached out to grab Yang Zigu. Boom! The round wheel that was protecting Yang Zigu instantly shone with golden light. Yang Zigu, who was inside, was still affected by the shockwave. Father, save me! Yang Zigu exclaimed. When Mohina Dojin asked the Lotus God for help, the lotus flower above his head once again emitted an extremely evil aura, which surged into Mohina Dojin's body. A pair of huge horns quickly grew out of his head, and Mohina Dojin's strength skyrocketed. At this moment, Yang Zigu's Jiaohu came through. Bastard! Despicable! Mohina Dojin roared and pounced on Yang Zigu. Jade Emperor, slash! Above the blood sea, the Jade Emperor's sword slashed out a massive sword aura towards Mohina Dojin. If Mohina Dojin were to save Yang Zigu, he would definitely be injured. If it did not save him, Bai Di Tian would definitely attack again. Mohina Dojin did not hold back as the sword aura slashed towards Bai Di Tian. Bai Di Tian's expression changed as he countered with a palm strike. Boom! A powerful aura surged into the sky, and the entire battlefield was filled with the sound of explosions. Bam! Bai Di Tian was sent flying back 1,000 feet by Mohina Dojin's palm strike. However, the Jade Emperor's sword instantly chopped off Mohina Dojin's left arm. Mohina Dojin reached out and grabbed the severed arm. He then looked at Yang Zigu, who had been saved. Within the giant sphere, Yang Zigu had been knocked unconscious by Bai Di Tian, but he was still fine. Mohina Dojin heaved a sigh of relief. Yin Chuan, I will come and find you again. Next time you will die. With that, Mohina Dojin soared into the sky and instantly left with Yang Zigu. As he watched Mohina Dojin leave, Yin Chuan frowned deeply. Something was not right. Mohina Dojin had borrowed the Lotus God's strength. At that moment, his aura had been very strong. Even a super mystical ability could not deal with it. That was why Bai Di Tian had chased after Yang Zigu to distract Mohina Dojin. However, Mohina Dojin's actions just now had made it seem like he would rather take a hit than let Yang Zigu get injured. His beloved son, if it had been someone else, Yin Chuan might have believed it. However, decades ago, Mohina Dojin had not cared about the lives of his other children. This made Yin Chuan understand that Mohina Dojin was a heartless person. Would such a person not care about his own life for his son? Chapter 10:14. This Yang Zigu definitely had a huge secret. Also, Lotus God? Who is Lotus God? The energy released by the myriad profundity demonic lotus in that instant made Yin Chuan realize that this wasn't the energy of the myriad profundity demonic lotus itself. Instead, it was an extremely powerful mighty figure that was transmitting this energy to Tao. Lord Black Sunday, congratulations, Your Majesty, for severely injuring Mohina Dojin. Chun Shui shouted from not far away. The other officials also hurried over to congratulate him. Yin Chuan's mind was filled with thoughts, but he still nodded and echoed the crowd. Phew! The blood sea disappeared, and Yin Chuan turned to look at the two people that he was about to subdue. The two of them were hesitant previously, but when they looked at Yin Chuan again, they immediately understood. I am willing to lead the entire sect to submit to the Dezhun imperial dynasty. Long live your majesty. Sect leader Wu bowed respectfully to Yin Chuan. Celestial Arcanum Sect South. Mohina Dojin brought everyone and flew towards the southeast. On the way, Yang Zigu gradually regained consciousness. Father, I am the one who dragged you down, Yang Zigu said bitterly. Mohina Dojin grabbed his severed arm and reattached it to his body. The severed arm was quickly reattached and recovered in a blink of an eye. Mohina Dojin shook his head and said, "It's nothing. The Jade Emperor's sword only absorbed some of my blood. I underestimated Yin Chuan. Father, if I was not the one who dragged you down, with your strength, you would definitely be able to kill Yin Chuan on the spot. Father, the people from the Dezhou Holy Ground, as long as they're demonized by you, they would be incomparably powerful. Demonize me too," Yang Zigu said longingly. You? No, you must maintain your pure body. Mohina Dojin shook his head and said, But father, this time, Yang Zigu said anxiously. Don't say any more. Celestial Arcanum Sect? It's nothing. I have the help of the Lotus God. As long as that day comes, the entire world will be mine. Mohina Dojin said solemnly. But didn't you say that the Celestial Arcanum Sect in the Immortal Realm also? That's because I didn't understand the strength of the Lotus God. Just now, I already felt it. Celestial Arcanum Sect? So what if it was the Tianji Sect of the Immortal World? In front of the Lotus God, you are nothing. Mohina Dojin said disdainfully. As for Yin Chuan? Humph, it won't be long. Once the time is up, all of them will die. Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with madness. Time? When? Yang Zigu asked curiously. Inside the sharpening god life array. Zhu versus Kong Daoqiu. Rumble. As the two of them faced each other, ripples of airflow spread out in all directions. No one could get close to them within a radius of 10,000 miles. Open. Zhu's eyes turned cold. Boom. The two of them separated, and the ground they were standing on turned into a huge crater with a diameter of 10,000 miles. The two of them looked at each other coldly. It was as if neither of them had one. However, in the next moment, Kong Daoqiu's expression changed as he looked at the sky not far away. Kong Mok had been forced out of the fog. He stood in the sky with an extremely ugly expression. Kong Daoqiu was stunned. Kong Mok was too disappointing. He was disqualified just like that. Kong Daoqiu again? Zhu sneered. Ha ha ha, Zhu. It seems like I have underestimated you. Kong Daoqiu's voice contained a trace of hostility. Zhu shook his head and said, If it was in the past, I would have fought with you. However, this time, the choice of the Celestial Arcanum Sect is at stake. I need the Celestial Arcanum Sect. Therefore, I have no choice but to use this method. If there is another chance in the future, I will fight with you fair and square. Not far away, Yao Tianshang flew over slowly with 8 people. Zhu's goal was to stall Kong Daoqiu so that Yao Tianshang and the other 8 could force Kong Mok out of the array and disqualify him. Kong Daoqiu looked at the crowd and finally let out an angry laugh. Ha ha, Zhu. No one has ever made me so angry. Ha ha ha. I will remember you. As he spoke, Kong Daoqiu flew out of the array. He did not want to fight anymore, because there was no point in fighting anymore. If he won, he would lose. If he lost, he would lose. He flew past Kong Mok. He looked at Kong Mok, who had a look of disappointment on his face. Kong Daoqiu walked towards the west and left alone. Kong Mok's face twitched. Chapter 10:15. Kong Mok left the archaic Arcanum sect with the remaining 100 or so officials. Kong Mok's face darkened as he rode on the dragon horse. The officials followed behind him, but no one dared to say anything. Only the Prophet Buddha dared to step forward. "Your Majesty, this trip is not going well. Let's go back," the Prophet Buddha advised. "Go back." Kong Mok's face darkened even more. It was the same as the last time. No, it was even worse than the last time. Kong Daoqiu was disappointed in losing the right to participate in the God-making plan. More than half of his officials were killed, and his reputation was ruined. Kong Mok's heart bled as he thought of this. All of this started with Yin Chuan. It all started with Yin Chuan. "Your Majesty, no, we can't go back like this. Go to the Great Jun Empire. Go to Yinjing. I want to destroy Yinjing first. I want Yin Chuan to pay the price." Kong Mok roared. The Prophet Buddha wanted to stop him, but when he saw the hatred in Kong Mok's eyes, he knew that he couldn't stop him. "Sigh." The Prophet Buddha sighed. "Forget it. Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian aren't in Yinjing. Yinjing shouldn't be a threat. Let's go to Yinjing." Kong Mok roared. "Yes," the officials replied. "East Divine Continent, Great Jun Empire, Yinjing." Imperial Astronomer Hall. Feng Yinyang sat cross-legged, his body emitting a faint green light. After a while, Feng Yinyang suddenly opened his eyes. "Ghost Valley Secret Art. Just as I thought, the South Sect and the Northern Sect took a long time to comprehend it. How could it be so fast when the two sects combined? Ghost Valley? Am I really the reincarnation of ancestor Gue Guzi?" Feng Yinyang frowned and thought, just as Feng Yinyang was exclaiming about his increase in strength. Dong! A bell chime came from the outside world. Feng Yinyang walked out of the hall, curiously, and looked at a huge volcano in the distance. What a heavy chime. Is this Jin Dayu, Divine Emperor Bell? Feng Yinyang narrowed his eyes. In the distance, inside the volcano, in the depths of the volcano, Jin Dayu looked at the huge golden bell in front of him. Jin Dayu's eyes were brimming with heroic spirit. Excitement flashed in his eyes as he said, "I finally have some ability to protect myself. The Divine Emperor Bell has completed its first form. Even if I face Bai Ditian, I can still fight him." At the same time, in the residence of Dajin's first army commander, Hua Guang was in a deep sleep. While sleeping, Hua Guang's body was shrouded in a bloody aura that surrounded the entire bedroom. None of the servants dared to approach. In his deep sleep, Hua Guang's face was malevolent. Soon after, his face became solemn and stirring. Hua Guang had a strange dream. In the dream, he was wearing a suit of armor and holding a bronze sword in his hand. With tears in his eyes, he solemnly placed the sword on his neck. "Heavenly Sovereign, Meng Tian has chased after you. My spirit is connected to the fate of the Heavenly Sovereign. If the Heavenly Sovereign dies, I die. If the Heavenly Sovereign reincarnates, I will follow you. Eternal immortality." In reality, Hua Guang's body was trembling. In the dream, he used his sword to commit suicide on the spot. Plop! In the dream, Hua Guang fell to the ground. As he was dying, he saw another scene. His disciple, Tan Lang, was also holding a long sword and shouting with tears of blood in his eyes. "Heavenly Sovereign, Meng Yi has chased after you. My spirit is connected to the fate of the Heavenly Sovereign. If the Heavenly Sovereign dies, I die. If the Heavenly Sovereign reincarnates, I will follow you. Eternal immortality." In the dream, Tan Lang committed suicide. Tan Lang fell to the ground and looked at Hua Guang's corpse. As he was dying, he became blurry. "Brother Ha!" The greedy wolf laughed bitterly and stopped breathing. In the dream, Hua Guang and Tan Lang died together. In the dream, the two of them died to follow the Heavenly Sovereign. They were Meng Tian and Meng Yi. Chapter 10:16. Dang! A bell rang from the outside world. Ah! Hua Guang quivered and immediately woke up. Hua Guang was covered in cold sweat, as though he had just been fished out of the water. Whoosh! A figure rushed into the hall. It was Tan Lang. Master, what's wrong? Tan Lang looked at Hua Guang in surprise. Hua Guang looked at Tan Lang. This was his brother in the dream? After a long silence, Hua Guang said with a complicated expression, I had a strange dream. Dream? Tan Lang, let's not be master and disciple anymore. Let's be brothers. How about that? Hua Guang said seriously. Tan Lang was confused. From today onwards, call me Big Brother. I will personally report this to His Majesty. Hua Guang said seriously. Tan Lang was still confused. Archaic Mysteries sect within the God-carving life formation. It had become a stage for Yin Chuan and Zhu. Victory, victory, victory. The two were victorious all the way, defeating all the heroes. At the same time, they subdued all the heroes. The two did not bite off more than they could chew. They only did what they could. They only subdued the sect leaders of their respective divine continents. Zhu subdued 5 sections. By now, Yin Chuan had already subdued 6 sections. The two factions seemed to know of each other's existence. They seemed to have deliberately avoided fighting until everyone else was expelled from the God-carving life formation. Only then did the two slowly calm down. They did not leave. Instead, they rested and recuperated, waiting for the final battle. Outside the God-carving life formation, the Archaic Mysteries sect disciples were also looking at the last 2 factions below. Yun Xian's eyes flashed with satisfaction. These 2 groups were too outstanding. Li Si and Meng Lingtian also landed beside Yun Xian and Heavenly Daughter. Congratulations, fellow Taoist Yun Xian. After such a huge wave of elimination, the 2 groups before us are about to decide the victor, and they are both heroes of the world. Meng Lingtian smiled. Yun Xian nodded. Sect Leader Yun, I wonder which side Sect Leader Yun favors? Yin Chuan? Zhu? Li Si asked. As soon as Li Si spoke, Meng Lingtian's eyes lit up. Meng Lingtian's mind spun rapidly. That's right. Who would the Tianji sect help? Yin Chuan? Zhu? Helping Yin Chuan was the best option. Li Si had already entered the great Zhun Empire. But what about Zhu? Did he have to consider the Julu Academy as well? Perhaps. Meng Lingtian looked at Li Si. Perhaps it would not be a bad idea to send Li Si to the Yao Imperial Dynasty. After all, Dezhen already had his great-great-grandson, Meng Wenruo. Meng Lingtian's eyes flashed. He looked at Yun Xian. Yun Xian frowned. Zhu was the greatest person in the world 30,000 years ago. Actually, the Archaic Mystery sect had already investigated him 30,000 years ago and was extremely satisfied with him. After his reincarnation, he seems to be even more outstanding than before. As for Yin Chuan, he's even more extraordinary. In less than a century, he's already achieved what he is today. Ahihi. Yin Xian shook her head and stopped talking. Clearly, both of them were extremely optimistic. They did not want to express their opinions right now. Looking at how Yin Xian did not want to talk about it, Meng Lingtian and Li Si could only feel helpless. However, the Heavenly Lady at the side spoke up. If it came down to this, who would you choose? Choose who? Choose now? Everyone looked at Zhao Afong in surprise. Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong in surprise as well. Can you tell us, sect leader? Zhao Afong asked once more. Looking at Zhao Afong's relentless questioning, Yin Xian finally smiled bitterly. Since the Heavenly Lady wishes to know, I'll share my thoughts as well. Chapter 10:17. Everyone looked at Yin Xian. I think highly of both of them. If there is no battle, I'm willing to let the Archaic Mysteries sect become a vassal. However, if I have to choose one, I'm more willing to choose Yin Chuan, because his potential is too terrifying. Yin Xian took a deep breath and said, Oh. Meng Lingtian was delighted. Zhao Afong was also slightly surprised. Of course, everything depends on the final battle. If Zhu can subdue Yin Chuan, I'm more willing to choose Zhu. Yin Xian smiled. Zhao Afong nodded as if he was secretly relieved, as if he was happy for Yin Chuan. As for Meng Lingtian and Li Si, there was no need to say anything. The two of them were praying that Yin Chuan would win. Finally, after resting for 2 days, the two sides began to gather at the center. The center was where the fairy palace was located. The two sides walked to the square of the fairy palace. They looked at each other. Yin Chuan took a step forward. Zhu also took a step forward. The two experts looked at each other. Yin Chuan, Zhu said indifferently, "Have you rested well?" Yin Chuan smiled. "Aren't you the same? I didn't expect the final opponent to be you." Zhu sighed. The two experts were about to have their final battle. Countless cultivators in the surroundings were excited as they looked at the center of the square. However, at this moment, Yin Chuan smiled and looked to the north in the direction of the archaic mystery's peak. "Zhao Afong, can you hear me?" Yin Chuan called to the north. "Zhao Afong, fairy?" Why was Yin Chuan calling for a fairy at this moment? Everyone looked at Zhao Afong curiously. However, Zhu frowned. In the distance, at the top of the archaic mystery's peak, Zhao Afong was stunned. Then, he became flustered. He even became anxious. However, Yin Chuan smiled and said, "Do you still remember what I said to you that day? The God-making plan? Yin Chuan, don't care about it. I won't compromise for it, or even give up my persistence." Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed shocked expressions, causing an uproar. What kind of tone was Yin Chuan using? Does he not care about the God creation plan? The vassal of the Celestial Arcanum sect didn't care? Compromise? Persevere? What did he mean? The faces of the Celestial Arcanum sect disciples turned extremely ugly. The God-making plan was a vassal of the Celestial Arcanum sect. In the hearts of the Celestial Arcanum sect disciples, how sacred was that? Similarly, whoever was chosen would be honored. Everyone who participated in the God creation plan should be incomparably honored. Not only was Yin Chuan not honored, but he also didn't seem to care about it. Zhu also looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. The Celestial Arcanum sect was a mysterious and ancient sect. Was Yin Chuan really willing to part with it? Meng Lingtian stood beside Yin Xian and was filled with anxiety. Was Yin Chuan out of his mind? How much effort had she put in for him? Yin Xian's face became slightly ugly as well. Only Zhao Afong had a complicated expression on his face. There was even a moment of fear. "You don't have to be like this. There's no need to persevere." Zhao Afong's voice trembled slightly. Li Si looked at Zhao Afong in surprise. Why was Zhao Afong so agitated? Yin Chuan shook his head stubbornly. "There are some things that I can give up, like the God creation plan. However, there are some things that I must persevere with, because I understand that if I give up today, I will regret it for the rest of my life tomorrow. You said that you will return to the immortal world very soon. However, I am willing to give up the Celestial Arcanum sect as the price for a heart-to-heart test between us." With that, Yin Chuan took out the world branch and pointed it at Zhao Afong. Zhao Afong froze momentarily. "Come, I won't blame you. Let's have a heart-to-heart test. You and I will have no regrets." Yin Chuan shouted again. Everyone looked at the heavenly maiden in confusion. They didn't know what Yin Chuan was talking about. Chapter 10:18. Zhao Afong froze momentarily. "Come, I won't blame you. Let's verify this once. We'll have no regrets." Yin Chuan called out again. Everyone looked at the fairy in confusion. They had no idea what Yin Chuan was talking about. Others might not know, but Zhao Afong knew it extremely well. Ever since Yin Chuan first mentioned it, Zhao Afong had been avoiding it. The conflict between her beliefs and her feelings made her unwilling to verify this fact. Yin Chuan said he was familiar with Zhao Afong. Wasn't Zhao Afong the same? It was like a feeling from the unseen world. However, Zhao Afong dared not touch it. But now, Yin Chuan had already forced Zhao Afong into a corner. Even without the archaic mystery's sex assistance, he had to verify this fact. "Come," Yin Chuan said firmly once more. Countless cultivators in the surroundings were confused. Even Yin Chuan's opponent, Zhu, was extremely curious right now. What was Yin Chuan trying to do with the branch of the world? Is there a need for this? Zhao Afong was troubled. At the same time, she felt pity for Yin Chuan. Zhao Afong knew that Yin Chuan came from the Immortal's world. Once he used the branch of the world, traces of being measured would be left on it. Yin Xin would definitely revoke Yin Chuan's qualification. Yin Chuan smiled instead. The 4 Cs can't compare to a single finger of yours. Zhao Afong trembled slightly. It was as if a thin crack had suddenly appeared in the ice in his heart. Without any hesitation, Zhao Afong took a step forward and flew towards Yin Chuan. In the blink of an eye, she arrived before Yin Chuan. The countless cultivators in the surroundings. Li Si was stunned as well. His Majesty had said that Zhao Afong was his wife that day. Was that true? Yin Xin and the others from the Archaic Mysteries sect fell silent. As if they had realized something, all of their expressions became mixed. Test it. Yin Chuan handed over the branch of the world. Zhao Afong bit her lip. After quite a while, she said, "All right." A smile bloomed on Yin Chuan's face, and his eyes became even more tender. Yin Chuan grabbed one end of the world branch, and Zhao Afong also grabbed the other end with her slender right hand. She said, "I only test the fate of marriage. In the past, if you and I were husband and wife, a red circle would appear." "All right." Yin Chuan nodded. A married couple? Zhu's expression changed. He immediately understood Yin Chuan's meaning. Yin Chuan came from the celestial realm? Then Yin Chuan was not qualified? Yin Chuan was no longer qualified, so Zhu was the only one left. However, Zhu didn't seem happy at all. Instead, he felt a great sense of regret. Zhao Afong chanted a series of complicated incantations. At the same time, a white light shone from his palm. Rumble! The countless runes on the world branch seemed to jump and revolve around it. Yin Chuan stared at the world branch, waiting for the red circle of light. A red circle of light signified a lifetime of husband and wife. As he waited, he became more and more anxious. Half an hour later, buzz! A red circle of light slowly appeared on the world branch. The circle of light became clearer and clearer. "Zhenro, you're Zhenro. You're really Zhenro." Yin Chuan shouted excitedly. Yin Chuan cried. Tears welled up in his eyes. Zhenro was alive. Zhenro was resurrected. Yin Chuan's heart trembled. His greatest regret in his previous life wasn't the destruction of his country, but the fact that Zhenro had fallen in his arms, and he couldn't do anything about it. He even felt that Zhenro's soul had dissipated. But now, he discovered that Zhenro was alive again. Zhenro was alive again. Yin Chuan was so happy that he cried. The surrounding experts all had different expressions on their faces. Chapter 1019. Yao Tianshang looked slightly excited, while Zhu looked slightly regretful. How is this possible? How is this possible? Meng Lingtian was extremely anxious in the distance. Li Si watched in silence. Yin Xin, on the other hand, sighed gently. Zhao Afong blushed as well. Was she really Zhenro? Was she the Zhenro in Yin Chuan's story in the past few months? Was she Zhenro? Zhao Afong immediately panicked. Was the person before her really her husband? Zhenro did not know what to do. Large cracks appeared on the ice in her heart again. However, things did not seem to be that simple. Just as Yin Chuan shed tears of joy and looked tenderly at Zhao Afong, the branch of the world changed again. Suddenly, another red halo appeared. Another one? Yin Chuan and Zhao Afong both looked at the halo in shock. The countless cultivators in the surroundings were extremely curious as well. Husband and wife for 2 lifetimes. Yin Xin said in surprise in the distance. Yin Xin understood what the halo meant. They had been husband and wife for 2 lifetimes. The probability was so low that it was almost impossible. Wong. Another halo appeared. Husband and wife for 3 lifetimes. A cultivator from the Archaic Mysteries sect cried out. Husband and wife for 4 lifetimes. Husband and wife for 80 lifetimes. Yin Xin actually cried out when she heard that. 80 lifetimes? They had been husband and wife for 80 lifetimes? How is this possible? This was impossible. There was no chance of this happening. Yin Xin rushed over as she cried out. Zhao Afong was also dumbfounded by the records on the branch of the world. Jinro had already made Zhao Afong speechless. How did they suddenly become husband and wife for 80 lifetimes? 80 lifetimes? I've reincarnated 80 times? And we're actually husband and wife? Yin Chuan said in surprise. Zhao Afong seemed to have forgotten about his panic. He looked at the halo in shock. Is it wrong? There must be a mistake. Zhao Afong shook his head and refused. No, it can't be wrong. You're the life usurper. I'll stop resisting. You calculate our 80 lifetimes. We'll be husband and wife for 80 lifetimes. Yin Chuan immediately cried out. And Zhao Afong nodded. With that, Zhao Afong's palm glowed with white light and entered the first halo. How is it? Yin Chuan asked. Zhao Afong's expression became complicated. I saw it. In the first life, you and I were the eldest son and eldest daughter of two feuding clans. But in the end, you were killed by both clans. Yin Chuan raised his eyebrows. In the second life, you and I are both mortals. We will grow old together and die together. In the third life, I was still immortal. You were my disciple. We married, but the world spurned us. In the end, we both died for love. The fourth generation. In my 80th life, I am Jinro. Zhao Afong looked at the calculated images, and for a moment he felt numb. The ice in Zhao Afong's heart continued to crumble. Looking at the scenes of this life, it was as if he had personally experienced it. Tears gradually flowed from his eyes. I see color. I understand what you said that day. Zhao Afong looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. Jinro. Yin Chuan smiled happily. Husband and wife for 80 lifetimes? A total of 80 lifetimes. Although Yin Chuan could not see the dozens of previous lives, it was enough for him to understand the reality of this moment. On the side, Yin Xion's expression was complicated. You came from the immortal world. Yin Xion sighed. No, I'm still Zhao Afong. Zhao Afong shook his head with tears flowing down his face. All right, as long as you are still you. Afong, come back with me. In this life, we will not be separated again. Yin Chuan took a step forward. Zhao Afong closed his eyes as if he was struggling with the past and present lives. Just as Yin Chuan was looking forward to it, boom, there was a sudden explosion in the sky. Afong. Following the explosion, a woman's voice came from the void. Zhao Afong quivered and looked up at the sky. Countless cultivators also looked up at the sky in shock. With the woman's voice, a terrifying aura spread out, immediately causing countless cultivators in the surroundings to tremble. An immortal? And an extremely powerful one at that? Meng Ling Tian's expression changed. Master. Zhao Afong looked up. A white light descended and enveloped Zhao Afong. Return. The white light spoke again. Zhao Afong's expression immediately became complicated. He turned to look at Yin Chuan. Return. The white light continued to speak. Master disciple. Zhao Afong said with a complicated expression, tears flowing down his face. I already know about your matter. However, the common people are about to perish. Let go of your personal feelings. Let go. Let go. The voice was filled with sorrow. Zhao Afong was sobbing. However, Yin Chuan frowned and looked at the sky. You are Afong's master? Afong is my wife of 80 lifetimes. What right do you have to separate us? How can an ant know the will of heaven? The white light spoke angrily. Yin Chuan was about to reprimand him again when Zhao Afong suddenly said, No, don't talk about my master. Yin Chuan frowned slightly. You and I were finally able to meet, but master and grandmaster. Zhao Afong shook his head. Yin Chuan did not say anything else. 80 lifetimes, 80 lifetimes. Zhao Afong's tears continued to flow. Afong, Yin Chuan said gently. Zhao Afong bit his lips and sobbed slightly. If fate doesn't change, I'll meet you in the immortal world. As he spoke, Zhao Afong let go of the world branch and soared into the sky. Afong, Yin Chuan called out. Zhao Afong's eyes were filled with tears, but he did not dare to look back. He soared into the sky, followed the white light, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. He entered the immortal world. in the immortal world. Afong, it will be over soon. A female voice consoled him. Master, my heart hurts. Zhao Afong sobbed. Zhao Afong left, leaving Yin Chuan alone, feeling lost. The surroundings were completely silent. After a while, Yin Chuan finally regained his composure. Ha, heaven, immortal world? How can an ant know fate? Am I still an ant? Ha ha ha. Yin Chuan laughed bleakly. As he laughed, Yin Chuan's expression became more and more ferocious. Not only did this attack not defeat Yin Chuan, but it also ignited Yin Chuan's ambition. Whoosh, whoosh. One by one, figures flew over quickly. Meng Lingtian, Li Si, Dongfang Zhenpai, and Lu Jin all landed. At this moment, the archaic arcanum sex, God, slaying life, formation slowly retreated. The result was out, and the formation was no longer needed. Your Majesty, Lu Jin said worriedly. Yin Chuan's expression slowly turned serious, and a cold, ominous glint appeared in his eyes. I'm fine. Yin Chuan suppressed his gloominess. Yin Di, I'm very sorry, but you can't participate in the God creation plan. At the same time, please fulfill your promise and return the world branch. Yin Xin stepped forward. Chapter 10:20. Yin Di, I'm very sorry. You can't participate in the God-making plan. At the same time, please fulfill your promise and return the world branch. Yin Xin stepped forward. The results were out as soon as Yin Xin spoke. Yin Chuan was disqualified. Only Zhu was left. Meng Lingtian's expression was extremely ugly. However, Li Si remained silent. The officials all looked at Yin Chuan with complicated expressions. Yin Chuan slowly turned around. Because of his previous ferocious expression, his face was still filled with killing intent. Yin Xin frowned. Sec Master Yin, I'll fulfill my promise. What about you? Yin Chuan looked at Yin Xin. Yin Xion's wrinkled face slowly relaxed. She nodded. Don't worry, Yin Di. Please state your second condition. Yin Chuan looked at the archaic arcanum sect disciples and handed over the world branch. The second condition is that no disciple of the archaic arcanum sect can perform any divination on Great Jun within 1,000 years. Huh? Yin Xin frowned. Does this condition go against your beliefs? Yin Chuan asked. Yin Xin smiled bitterly and nodded in the end. Yin Xin, guarantee it. Yin Chuan nodded and handed over the world branch. Yin Xin accepted it gently with some excitement. Yin Xin checked it and immediately passed it to an archaic arcanum sect elder behind her. The archaic arcanum sect disciples passed it around excitedly. However, Yin Xin bowed to Yin Chuan. Thank you, Yin Di, for fulfilling my wish. Yin Chuan nodded gently. Then, Yin Chuan looked at Zhu. Congratulations, Yao Di. Zhu smiled and nodded. Thank you. Yin Chuan nodded. Officials of Great Jun, return with me. Yes, Your Majesty. The officials replied in unison. Wait. Meng Lingtian suddenly called out. At this moment, Meng Lingtian was anxious. Yin Chuan was giving up on the opportunity. Why was this happening? Oh. Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes and looked at Meng Lingtian. Meng Lingtian looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression, then at Zhu, and finally at Li Si. It was as if he regretted his wrong decision. Zhu's expression changed, and he immediately understood the problem. Meng Lingtian, did Li Si join Dejun as a representative of Jilu Academy? Zhu asked. Not bad. Meng Lingtian's face lit up. The Demon Imperial Dynasty is in desperate need of talents. If Li Si doesn't mind, the Demon Imperial Dynasty is willing to make you a rank 5 Earl. I wonder what the two of you think. She said with a smile. Yin Chuan raised his eyebrows slightly. Was Zhu trying to poach him in front of everyone? However, he couldn't be blamed. If he was in Li Si's position, he would have also spoken up. Li Si's ability was no small matter. He alone could fight against an army of millions. Haha, thank you. Li Si, why don't you join the Yao Imperial Dynasty? Meng Lingtian laughed. The Demon Imperial Dynasty the archaic Arcanum sect, the Julu Academy, and the Lushan Academy formed a huge alliance in Meng Lingtian's heart. Such an alliance would be more stable in this chaotic world. Dongfang Zhongpai panicked. Old Meng, I look down on you. What do you know? The world is about to change. I have to think for the Julu Academy. Meng Lingtian shouted. Dongfang Zhongpai was about to scold him when Li Si suddenly stepped forward. Meng Lingtian, Li Si frowned. A servant does not serve two masters. I will only stay in Dijon. My life is not for you to decide. Since I promised to repay the Julu Academy, I will do it. However, I will only use my own method, Li Si said solemnly. Chapter 1021. Meng Lingtian's face darkened. Old Meng, are you having a headache? Dongfang Zhongpai laughed. Meng Lingtian. Yin Chuan looked at Li Si with a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. Let's go. Yin Chuan flew into the sky. Li Si, Bai Ditian, and Lu Jin followed closely behind. Then, the subdued elites of the 6 major sects followed closely behind. The group of people flew towards the southeast in a grandiose manner. Zhu narrowed his eyes as he stood on the peak of a mountain. This Yin Chuan isn't simple, Yao Tianshang said with a frown. The only heroes today are Yin Chuan and Hua Er, Zhu said solemnly. A few months later, in the great Zheng dynasty's Yin capital, Kong Mok finally arrived with more than 100 officials, covered in dust. Kong Mok stood on the peak of a mountain. His eyes glinted with hatred. He looked up at the golden dragon of providence in the sky and unleashed a murderous aura. Roar! The 9-clawed golden dragon of Great Zheng seemed to have sensed the murderous aura, and it roared in warning. Many of the Great Zheng officials' expressions changed. Hua Guang stepped out of the Hor residence with the Greed Wolf. Jin Dayu appeared at the mouth of a volcano in the distance. Feng Yinyang stepped out of the Imperial astronomer as well. Everyone could sense the murderous aura. They looked at a nearby mountain. Kong Mok said with a dark expression, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian aren't here. Kill them all. Kill them all. Kill them all. Understood. More than 100 officials replied. A group of experts pounced on them. The upper void stage expert at the front slashed down with his energy saber. A heavenly saber beam descended from the sky as though it was going to cleave Yin capital in half. Bastard! Someone in Yin capital shouted coldly. Hua Guang pointed his spear at the sky. The astral spear, which was surrounded by endless blood fiends, shot up into the sky and collided with the astral saber. Boom! The spear aura surrounded by the blood aura struck, and the saber aura exploded. Feng Yinyang waved his hand. It was as if a sea of clouds had appeared all of a sudden, covering Beijing in an instant and protecting the people of Beijing. Following that, the rolling fog rolled towards the group of powerhouses. The moment Yinjing was protected, a bell rang in the distance. Clang! A blue sound wave quickly swept towards the group of experts. Kong Mok's group of experts screamed in pain. Die! Hua Guang waved his long spear, and 3 experts were instantly blasted apart. The fog spread, instantly cutting off the alliance of all the powerhouses. Hua Guang wielded his spear and ferociously charged into the battlefield. Die! Boom! In the fog, miserable cries could be heard. Feng Yinyang stared coldly at the battlefield. Zizi also walked on a square. Yifeng walked over. On one hand, he was protecting Zizi. On the other hand, he was reporting what was happening. Empress, they're from the Great Buddha Empire. Kong Mok is leading them, Yifeng said. The Great Buddha Empire? Zizi's eyes turned cold. Pass down my order. Kill them all. Yes. Hua Guang was the reincarnation of a ferocious star and had gone through 10,000 years of baptism. Although he had just reached the upper void stage not long ago, his ferocious aura was unstoppable. One man and one spear could block thousands of enemies. Boom! One by one, the powerhouses died under Hua Guang's spear. In the white fog, everyone lost contact with each other, and they were running around in confusion. How could this be? Kong Mok's expression changed. Chapter 1022. With a flip of his hand, Kong Mok was about to break the array. Boom! A gust of wind blew past, and Jean Diyu suddenly appeared in front of Kong Mok. "It's you." Kong Mok's face darkened. "Kong Mok, how dare you come here? Capturing you will definitely be a great merit," Jean Diyu said with a smile. "Just you," Kong Mok sneered. As he spoke, he struck out with his palm, and a huge golden palm appeared in the void, grabbing at Jean Diyu. Dang! The divine emperor bell rang again, and another blue sound wave rushed out, stacking on top of each other in the air as it collided with Kong Mok. Boom! The sound wave and the golden palm collided, and the golden palm was shattered. Wah! A crow cawed, and rolling grand sun primordial fire swept towards Kong Mok. "No, no, your majesty, run quick!" Prophet Buddha exclaimed. The grand sun primordial fire exploded, and Prophet Buddha's body was charred black as he blocked Jean Dayu's attack. More than 100 officials were trapped in an instant, and countless screams could be heard from within the fog. Jean Dayu suddenly became so powerful that Kong Mok found it difficult to kill him in a short time. No, Kong Mok couldn't believe this tragic reality. "Let's go." Prophet Buddha made a prompt decision. He led the remaining dozen or so people and quickly fled. "Escape? Where do you think you're going?" Jean Dayu stared and shouted. "Wah!" Jean Dayu chased after them. Kong Mok and the others escaped. "Prophet, I can kill that guy. He can't do anything to me." Kong Mok shouted. "I understand, but your majesty, didn't you see it? The most terrifying thing isn't Jean Dayu. It's that inexplicable formation. That strange formation. Upper Void martial artists. Even Upper Void martial artists would get lost if they enter it. Moreover, that formation is still expanding. Once it envelopes us, we won't have any chance to escape." "Bastard," Kong Mok said with hatred. "Your Majesty, let's leave quickly. The Dajin Imperial Dynasty is too strange, and we don't know how many more things there are," Prophet Buddha exclaimed. Jean Dayu immediately engaged in a fierce battle with the 6 experts, and Kong Mok and the others immediately fled. Chaos opening. Jean Dayu shouted angrily. Dang! A powerful impact instantly sent the 6 powerhouses flying into the forest in all directions. Wow! Jean Dayu transformed into the Golden Crow and chased after them again. The 6 experts who crashed into the mountain quickly got up, wanting to continue blocking Jean Dayu. Suddenly, a group of black-robed men appeared in front of each of them. A group of black-robed men blocked their path. One of the men's face sank, and he suddenly slashed out with his sword. Humph! A black-robed man waved his long sword and immediately repelled the sword. "Who are you?" The group of black-robed men ignored him and looked at the leader instead. "Pavilion Master." Everyone looked at the black-robed leader. "Don't let any of them escape. Kill them all." The leader of the black-robed men said in a deep voice. "Yes." The group of black-robed men replied. As for the leader, he quickly chased after Jean Dayu. After chasing him for half a year, they finally caught up. Kong Mok brought the Prophet Buddha out of the East Divine Continent. "Your Majesty, Jean Dayu knows that he can't kill us, so he went back," Prophet Buddha said miserably. Kong Mok looked at himself and the Prophet Buddha. Most of their clothes were torn, and they looked extremely miserable. For a moment, Kong Mok was extremely sorrowful. "Your Majesty, we are injured, but Jean Dayu is also injured. He is more miserable than us," Prophet Buddha advised. "Back then, we should have killed Yin Chuan while he was still in the bud. I hate him," Kong Mok said hatefully. "Your Majesty, please don't think about it," Prophet Buddha said bitterly. The emperor and his minister were speechless for a moment, and they flew towards the West Divine Continent. Chapter 1023. Dajin Empire. Yin Capital Upper Study Room. Outside the Upper Study Room, Yifeng, Huoguang, Jean Dayu, Ming Wenrao, Li Si, and Lu Gang had all arrived. Lu Jin stopped them outside the Upper Study Room. "My lords, please wait," Lu Jin said politely. Who else is inside? Huo Guang asked. Lu Jin shook her head. Only His Majesty is inside. He might be thinking about something. Please wait for His Majesty's summons. The ministers looked at each other and nodded in the end. Inside the upper study room, Yin Chuan sat behind the desk and tapped his fingers on the armrest of the throne. He frowned as if he was thinking about something important. Mohina Dojin. Yin Chuan frowned as he tried to recall. That day, the power that the Lotus God imbued was so powerful that even Bai Ditian said it was nothing compared to him. With the help of the myriad wonders, demonic Lotus, Mohina Dojin even created hundreds of powerful puppets. Puppets at the first level of the upper void stage? Even at the first level, the number of upper void stage puppets is terrifying. How many upper void stage puppets are there in the world? Yin Chuan picked up the teacup on the table and took a sip. He fell into deep thought again. Mohina Dojin already has such strength and influence, but he's still content with his territory? He doesn't care about Dajin at all? Perhaps there's only one explanation. Dao Monarch Black Sun is still waiting for something, and this thing that he's waiting for can allow his strength to undergo a qualitative leap? Yin Chuan's eyes suddenly narrowed, and a bright light flashed. Lotus God? I must find out who this Lotus God is. After pondering for a while, Yin Chuan seemed to have made a decision. Huo Guang and the others were also waiting outside the main hall. They were slightly curious as to what Yin Chuan was thinking. Come in. Yin Chuan's voice sounded. Sirs, please, Lu Jin said with a smile. Everyone nodded and stepped into the upper study. Greetings, Your Majesty. Everyone saluted. Yin Chuan nodded. Your Majesty, the 6 middle sects that you subdued in the Archaic Mysteries sect have all submitted to the Great Jun Imperial Dynasty. Their merits have all been converted into fortune by the Great Jun Empire. Yifeng said, although there are some people from the 6 middle sects who are not convinced, they have all been suppressed. The Great Jun Empire's army has already begun to garrison the major cities. All right, Yin Chuan nodded. In the East Divine Continent, other than the Dazhao Holy Ground, the Julu Academy, and the Dajin Imperial Dynasty, there are only 9 middle-level sects left. Before His Majesty went to the Archaic Mysteries sect, he had already started making preparations to attack the Dazhao Holy Ground. Is it about to begin now? Yifeng asked again. Shaking his head, Yin Chuan said in a deep voice, Wait a little longer. The ministers looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Lu Gang. Yes, Your Majesty. Lu Gang immediately replied. Increase the East faction's infiltration of the Dazhao Holy Ground by 5 times. Investigate everything about the Dazhao Holy Ground. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes, Lu Gang replied. There are still 9 middle-level sects left? Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. Huo Guang, Yifeng, Jin Diyu, Meng Wenruo, Li Si, I want you to come up with an expedition plan within 3 days. I want to destroy the 9 sects first before attacking the Dazhao Holy Ground. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Everyone was slightly surprised. Expedition plan? His Majesty is not participating? Logically speaking, His Majesty should be in charge of this matter. Yes, everyone replied, but their hearts were filled with confusion. As though he saw through everyone's confusion, Yin Chuan explained, I will not be participating in the expedition against the 9 sects for a period of time. I need all of you to work together. I want to find out what kind of existence this Lotus God is. Yes, everyone replied. Only Li Si was slightly confused. Lotus God? Find out? How could he figure out? 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. A plan for the expedition against the 9 sects appeared in front of Yin Chuan. Yifeng was in charge of overseeing the headquarters, the order of the expedition, and the deployment of various strategies. Li Si was in charge of the path of law, using the fastest speed to implement the laws of the Dazhao Holy Ground into the cities under their control, stabilizing the people's hearts, persuading the disciples of the various sects to surrender. Meng Wenruo was in charge of the imperial examinations, selecting the best talents to quickly fill the important official positions after the siege. Huo Guang and Jin Diyu were in charge of the attack. Looking at the plan, Yin Chuan was extremely satisfied. He took out the great heavenly seal and stamped it. Approved, Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. In the imperial court, Yin Chuan gave some instructions and left again. Inside the imperial palace, Xianying Palace, Feng Yinyang once again arranged everything. Outside Xianying Palace, there was a trace of reluctance in Zizi's eyes. I'm right here. What are you worried about? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Zizi sighed. But your soul has already left the heavens. Meow. Big liar, you said you'd take me, but you didn't take me to the immortal realm this time. Meow immediately cried out. This is no small matter. I'll definitely take you next time. Yin Chuan smiled wryly. Meow Meow turned its head away in disbelief. Meow. Yin Chuan's trip to the immortal realm this time is very important. Can't you see that he's going alone? Zizi frowned. Meow. I was just saying. Meow said, feeling wronged. All right, wake me up if you need anything. I really do have something important to do this time. Yin Chuan said. Okay. Zizi nodded sensibly. They entered Xianying Palace. Yin Chuan lay in the coffin with his eyes closed. Just like last time, there was a black jade talisman on top of his head. However, there was something different this time. Yin Chuan held a piece of wood in his palm. It was a small piece of wood from the branch of the world. When he returned the branch of the world to Yin Xin, Yin Chuan gently took a small piece from it. It was so small that it was hard to notice, but it was extremely important to Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan wanted to use this piece to find the world tree of the immortal realm. Great soul, go! Feng Yinyang waved the black banner, and Yin Chuan's soul suddenly split into 200 pieces. They shot into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Boom! Xianying Palace regained its peace. Zizi looked at Yin Chuan worriedly. Feng Yinyang said, Don't worry, Empress. His Majesty has already instructed me to guard His Majesty for this period of time. If anything happens to His Majesty, I'll immediately wake His Majesty up. Zizi nodded. 200 pieces of soul rushed into the immortal realm and quickly scattered in all directions. 199 of them were used for cultivation like last time. Only one of them was wrapped in a verdant light and quickly traveled through the immortal realm. The most wondrous thing about the dream of heavenly secrets was its speed. It seemed to cross through space and appeared in the depths of the immortal realm in the blink of an eye. Yin Chuan also sensed that he'd suddenly possessed a man's body. Zheng wake up! A voice called out. With a start, Yin Chuan immediately woke up. He saw a dark-skinned old man with a face full of wrinkles. Immortal? Yin Chuan's expression changed. He knew he'd possessed a mortal this time. Zheng are you feeling better now? The old man asked with concern. Yin Chuan nodded. He did his best to hide the changes. Sigh, don't even think about it. People like us aren't allowed to cultivate. No matter how good our constitution or talent is, we're not allowed to cultivate. You offended the immortals this time and were knocked unconscious. Next time, sigh, don't let there be a next time. Second uncle is old and can't take care of you for much longer. The old man advised. Not allowed to cultivate? Yin Chuan frowned and asked doubtfully. Your parents were just like you back then. They were too stupid and wanted to escape from this area. But how could they escape? The immortals are guarding this place. How can we, mortals, fight against them? Why do the immortals have to watch over us mortals? Yin Chuan didn't understand. You don't remember? The old man was surprised. My head hurts a little. I seem to have forgotten something. Tell me. Sigh, all right. I heard it from my father, your grandfather, when he was still alive. Do you know the giant tree to the east of us? I think it's called the World Tree. The immortals are very protective of it. World Tree? Yin Chuan's expression changed. He knew he'd come to the right place. The World Tree. Those immortals don't know how to take care of it. So after they surrounded it, they tried their best not to let anyone destroy it. The creatures inside also lived as usual. No one was allowed to disturb them. Why? Your grandfather guessed that the immortals were worried about destroying the environment and causing the World Tree to die. After all, it was rumored that the World Tree had a period of time where it almost withered. Now, no one dares to act rashly. We're not allowed to move our lives here. Maybe our corpses will become fertilizer for the world tree. Maybe it won't. But the immortals don't dare to gamble. Oh, Jean, don't provoke those immortals anymore. Live well. In the future, I'll find you a wife. Although the immortals are high and mighty, no one dares to attack us for fear of destroying the growth of the world tree. Just be immortal in peace. The old man sighed. Yin Chuan nodded and said, I know. It's great that you can think it through. If there's anything, come to Second Uncle's house. Second Uncle will help you. The old man said. Okay. After sending the old man away, Yin Chuan also looked around. The person possessed this time had parents who died early. He was immortal, but this was for the best. Yin Chuan didn't have to worry too much about the secular world. Walking out of his small yard, Yin Chuan looked to the east. There was a huge shadow. It was a giant tree. World tree. Yin Chuan's eyes narrowed as he looked at the towering tree. The world tree? It's about 10,000 feet tall. A tree that's 10,000 feet tall? Wait, this is a cypress tree? The world tree is a cypress tree? Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. After looking for a while, Yin Chuan made a decision. Back in the house, Yin Chuan quickly prepared some dry food. Carrying a machete, he walked towards the world tree. One man and one machete walked towards the world tree in the distance. At the same time, on a mountain not far away, two old men in Taoist robes, one in red and one in white, were playing chess at the top of the mountain. What's that mortal doing? The old man in red asked curiously. Ha! Isn't that young man the one who wanted to be your disciple some time ago? The old man in white suddenly laughed. Indeed, it's him, but I sent him back. Hasn't he given up yet? The old man in red was confused. That young man seems to be going to the world tree. Indeed, we can't let him go. Can't let him go? No, you can't stop him. What if he hurts the world tree? How can a mortal like him hurt it? The world tree has lost more than half of its vitality. No one knows how to maintain it. What if the young man is summoned by the world tree? If you stop him, what if the world tree dies? You won't be able to absolve yourself of the blame. All the sects have given orders. No one is to disturb the ecology of this place. No matter what happens, no change. Our role as immortal guards is not to interfere with the inside, but to prevent anyone from outside from causing trouble. Are you saying that I hit the wrong young man that day? The old man in red frowned. The old man in white nodded. Strictly speaking, you did make a mistake. The people here have their own lives. Even if they come to be disciples, we just have to avoid them. We must not interfere. The old man in red frowned, but did not refute. Chapter 1024. Although Yin Chuan's whereabouts were discovered by the two immortals, they did not stop him. Although they encountered a large number of wild beasts along the way, Yin Chuan was not the young boy before him. With a few tricks, he made the beasts retreat. The two immortals, one red and one white, looked at Yin Chuan in the distance in surprise. The wild boar, bear, tiger, leopard, and wolf along the way were all driven away by a young boy who had never cultivated before. He had even used his weak mortal strength to kill a leopard. His journey was so smooth. The two immortals looked at this scene in astonishment. At the same time, they paid more attention to the young boy. Yin Chuan walked all the way to the giant tree. After 3 months, he finally reached the foot of the giant tree. The giant tree covered the sky. Standing under the giant tree, he was like an ant. The trunk of the giant tree in front of him was like a giant mountain. However, this giant mountain seemed to be withering. Yin Chuan stood quietly under the giant tree. Yin Chuan's expression was complicated because he felt a sense of familiarity from the giant tree. It was as if there was a voice in the dark telling him to reach out and touch it. This feeling was very kind, even happy. Yin Chuan's expression was complicated. After thinking for a while, he finally reached out to touch the giant tree. What are you doing? Suddenly, an angry shout came from behind him. Yin Chuan paused and turned around. He saw 2 old men, one red and one white, behind him. The old man in the white robe looked confused, while the old man in the red robe looked angry. Immortals? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Boy, you're not allowed to touch the world tree. Don't you know? The old man in the red robe said coldly. Why not? Yin Chuan said in a low voice. You don't need to know why. You are not allowed to touch the world tree. This is the rule of the world. Otherwise, if the world tree dies, you will not be able to absolve yourself of the blame. The old man in the red robe said coldly. 10,000 deaths are not enough to absolve the blame? Of course, Yin Chuan didn't believe it. The Tree of World had given him a very intimate feeling just now. Yin Chuan turned to look at the white-robed elder. The white-robed old man smiled and said, That's right, kid. The world tree is a supreme treasure that protects the world. No one is allowed to touch it. We are here to guard the world tree. But the world tree told me to touch it, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. What? The red-robed elder exclaimed. The white-robed elder also looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Brat, what did you say? You can communicate with the world tree? The red-robed elder exclaimed. Countless immortals had tried, but they couldn't communicate with the world tree at all. They transferred their life force to the world tree, but the world tree remained indifferent. It gathered the vital energy of heaven and earth, but the world tree continued to wither. This made countless immortals very depressed. This young man could communicate with the Tree of World? If that was the case, then wouldn't the world tree be able to get whatever it needed through the young man? I can't touch it? Then forget it, Yin Chuan said indifferently. Don't. The red-robed elder smiled bitterly. Brat, tell us clearly. Did the world tree really tell you to touch it? The white-robed elder asked seriously. It's just letting me sense it. Yin Chuan nodded affirmatively. The two immortals looked at each other and finally nodded. Then, kid, try touching it. Yin Chuan nodded and said, No one is allowed to disturb me while I'm touching the world tree. Huh? The two immortals were stunned. They had become his guards? After saying that, Yin Chuan ignored the two of them and reached out to touch the Tree of World. Buzz! The moment he touched the world tree suddenly shook as if it was trembling with excitement. Swoosh! The world tree shook crazily as if it was happy about something. Buzz! A green energy suddenly rushed into Yin Chuan's soul. Rumble! The world tree shook. At the same time, it crazily extracted nutrients from the ground. Countless plants around the world tree suddenly withered, and the ground quickly became desertified. Endless vitality was being extracted. The desert spread into the distance. 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 1,000,000 feet. The two immortals looked at this scene blankly, as if they were dumbfounded. The ground was becoming desertified? The mission of the two immortals was to ensure that the surrounding ecological environment would not change. But now, the ecological environment was not changing. It had become as bad as a desert. This was a dereliction of duty, a serious dereliction of duty. The sect would definitely blame them. The red-robed elder was about to fly into a rage and push Yin Chuan away, but the white-robed elder pulled him back. Because the white-robed elder found that the world tree was recovering its vitality. That withered part actually sprouted a new shoot. Shoots? The world tree was recovering its vitality? Kid, look at what you've done. The red-robed elder shouted angrily. Don't touch him. Great, great. The world tree can be saved. The red-robed elder shouted excitedly. What? The red-robed elder also came to his senses. In an instant, the red-robed elder's anger disappeared, and his face was filled with excitement. The world tree can be saved, the white-robed elder said excitedly. The world tree suddenly extracted a large amount of vitality and grew rapidly. As it swayed, the sky suddenly turned blue. Blue light shot into the sky as if it was happy and ecstatic. In the sects near the world tree, countless cultivators suddenly saw the blue light shooting into the sky. A large number of cultivators flew toward the world tree quickly. The changes to the world tree affected the minds of billions of cultivators. A blue energy flowed into Yin Chuan's soul. Yin Chuan looked at this scene in surprise. Yin Chuan could actually feel the world tree's emotions. Cypress? You were on a hunger strike before? Yin Chuan felt this ridiculous fact in shock. The tree was on a hunger strike? This tree was too unique. My soul? Because of my soul, you gave up on your hunger strike? You were happy and excited? Could it be that my soul has something to do with the cypress? Yin Chuan frowned as he pondered. Yin Chuan took in the blue energy for a while and stopped because Yin Chuan knew that he would explode if he took in any more. Letting go of his hand, Yin Chuan looked at the cypress in front of him with a complicated expression. Kid, the red-robed immortal from before said in surprise. Yin Chuan looked around. The ground was deserted, and the leaves of the world tree suddenly became much more lush. The two immortals stared at him with wide eyes. Yin Chuan knew that with such a big commotion, many strong cultivators would definitely come in a while. You two, the world tree just gave me some information, but I don't understand it. Please tell me. Yin Chuan said. Oh. The two were surprised. Information from the world tree? You two, do you know the lotus god? Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Lotus god! The red-robed elder immediately exclaimed. Oh, Yin Chuan was surprised. The people in front of him knew the lotus god? That's great. No wonder. The white-robed elder nodded. Who's the lotus god? Yin Chuan asked again. The two said bitterly, You wouldn't understand even if I told you. But since you asked, I'll tell you. The lotus god is the most powerful demon. The most powerful demon. Heaven is dead, and the heavenly Tao collapsed. Although he didn't do it himself, heaven's death was completely planned by him. The collapse of the heavenly Tao was also caused by him. He can't die. Lotus God killed heaven, collapsed the heavenly Tao. Yin Chuan gaped in shock. He had thought that the Lotus God was just a powerful immortal in the immortal world. But no matter how powerful an immortal was, could he kill heaven? Could he collapse the heavenly Tao? The two immortals nodded solemnly. Yin Chuan. Mohina Dojin had the Lotus God's help. How could he fight him? How does the Lotus God compare to Goddess Ji Chun? Yin Chuan asked again. In ancient times, Goddess Ji Chun was one of the strongest in the world, but she was far from comparable to the Lotus God. The Lotus God? He's not human. Our world was almost destroyed by him. The world tree was also killed by him. No wonder he couldn't forget about the Lotus God. The white-robed elder smiled bitterly. Then is there anyone in this world who can fight against the Lotus God? Yin Chuan asked expectantly. No, unless the world can give birth to a transcendent, someone who can live forever like him. Otherwise, if he comes, our world will be destroyed. The white-robed elder smiled bitterly. Yin Chuan, what was going on? Was the Lotus God that terrifying? Then why didn't the Lotus God come? Yin Chuan asked curiously. The two immortals looked at each other and shook their heads. We don't know. Yin Chuan was stunned. That's all we know. The great calamity of ancient times, the death of the heavens, and the collapse of the heavenly Tao were all planned by the Lotus God. As for the lack of news about the Lotus God, we don't know why. The white-robed elder shook his head. Yin Chuan, by the way, do you know what happened to the world tree? The two immortals immediately asked Yin Chuan. The world tree? You don't have to worry about it in the future. Give it enough vitality, and it can absorb it. And me, the world tree, gave me information that might erase a part of my memory. If the two of you have time in the future, please take care of me. Yin Chuan sighed. As he spoke, Yin Chuan's body trembled and his soul left his body. He used the dream of heaven's secret poison to quickly leave and disappear into the distance. As for the young man who was possessed by Yin Chuan, he quivered and his eyes became numb. Kid, are you okay? The red-robed elder called out. The young man slowly regained consciousness. When he opened his eyes, he saw the two immortals. Immortals? You're an immortal, and you're willing to accept me as your disciple? That's great. I'll kowtow to master. The young man immediately knelt and stood up. Thump, 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 thump. Red-robed immortal. White-robed immortal. The two immortals were petrified. The young man's memory was erased by the world tree. So fast. Whoosh. A white light landed in front of them. It was a golden-haired man. Disciple, what happened just now? The golden-haired man asked anxiously. I don't know. The two immortals said blankly. What? It's him, this young man. The red-robed immortal said immediately. This young man? What did he do? I don't know. The two immortals asked again. The golden-haired man was depressed. Were these two disciples stupid? The two immortals were also speechless. Everything happened too fast. How could they explain it? Chapter 1025. 10 years later. Dazhao Holy Ground. Dazhao Hall. Father, your child's cultivation is at the lower void realm, and I can't go any further. Please use the myriad wonders bewitching lotus to help me. Yang Zigu pleaded. Mohina Dojin looked at Yang Zigu, and his eyes narrowed. He shook his head and said, No, I can find you any heavenly treasure you want, but you can't touch the myriad wonders bewitching lotus. Do you want to be like the others? Yang Zigu's face changed. I don't want to be like them, a puppet without my own thoughts. But, Father, aren't you fine? Because I control the myriad wonders bewitching lotus. Mohina Dojin said solemnly. Hearing Mohina Dojin's words, Yang Zigu felt dejected. Seeing Yang Zigu's dejection, Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with satisfaction. Yang Zigu retreated, and Mohina Dojin looked at Yang Zigu's back, his eyes narrowed. 9 physiques, the number of suns. In 361 years, you will be able to connect to the sun's energy. Soon, 361 years? It's almost there. Mohina Dojin sneered. Yang Zigu left the Dazhao Hall, but Yang Zigu soon returned with a Dazhao, holy ground disciple. Holy Lord, it's not good. The disciple shouted. What's wrong? Mohina Dojin asked solemnly. Holy Lord, the great Jin Empire is attacking the various sections. This disciple just received news that 2 Middle Realm sect were crushed by the great Jin Empire, and 1 Middle Realm sect has chosen to submit. The disciple said worriedly, 3 more sects? 3 more? Father, the great Jin Empire is too fast. How many sects are there in the East Divine Continent? Does it really want to unify the East Divine Continent? Yang Zigu exclaimed. Father, in the East Divine Continent, there are only the Dazhao Holy Ground, the Julu Academy, the Great Jin Imperial Dynasty, and 6 middle sects left. The Great Jin Imperial Dynasty is constantly fighting. Will it advance to the Celestial Empire? Yang Zigu asked worriedly. Father, do you still remember the news from 3 months ago? During the invasion of the Southern Divine Continent, they encountered an ancient sect, the Nether Cave sect. They originally thought that it was just a mid-tier sect, but they didn't expect that the Nether Cave sect was hiding an immortal Nether Cave. Immortal Nether Hole charged into the Great Nightmare Celestial Dynasty, but he was crushed by King Nether Guy with the might of the Great Nightmare Celestial Dynasty. Yang Zigu recalled. Those are immortals. Father, once Dejun ascends to the Celestial Empire, will it be the same and be able to resist immortals? Then we won't be able to do anything to him. Yang Zigu said worriedly. Celestial Empire? Mohina Dojin's eyes narrowed. Father, you have to kill Yin Chuan while he's still growing. Father, killing Yin Chuan is as easy as flipping your hand. Destroying Dejun is also as easy as flipping your hand. You can't let him grow any stronger. Yang Zigu said with a savage expression. Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with a trace of difficulty. He had borrowed the power of the Lotus God, so he could even kill immortals. He didn't need to fear Yin Chuan's celestial empire. However, borrowing that evil power would definitely harm him. The more he borrowed, the greater the damage. Father, Dejun's providence has already reached a terrifying level. Once it completes its ascension, it will be too late. Yang Zigu continued to tempt him. Mohina Dojin stood up gently and nodded. That's right. Killing Dejun now is as easy as flipping my hand. Yes, Father. Destroy Yin Chuan. No, it's best if you cripple Yin Chuan's cultivation and hand him over to me. Let me have a taste of him. Yang Zigu said with a savage expression. Mohina Dojin looked at Yang Zigu and narrowed his eyes. Wait for me to return from Yinjing. It's about time. Chapter 1026. It's time? What time is it? Yang Zigu asked blankly. Don't worry and stay in the great Zhao Holy Land. Don't be a burden to me like last time. I'll leave 300 upper void stage evil puppets behind and wait for my return. Mohina Dojin said in a deep voice. 300 upper void stage experts? Father, don't worry. Although these 300 are puppets, they're strong enough. It's just that I'm too careful. Otherwise, they'd be enough to sweep the world. Back then, even Jingting couldn't compare to you. How powerful was the great Zhao Holy Land back then? Yang Ziga flattered. Although Mohina Dojin did not dare to criticize Jingting, he still felt very comfortable when he heard Yang Zigu's words. Leaving 300 evil puppets to protect Yang Zigu, Mohina Dojin led 200 evil puppets into the sky and flew towards Yanjing. The immortal world, Yan Chuan's soul, which was attached to the world tree, left his body and quickly left. He used the dream of heaven's secret art to arrive at an extremely secluded valley. He did not return to Xianyang Palace because once he returned, all of his souls would return together. As for the other souls, Yan Chuan still hoped that they would accumulate birth charts. In the valley, Yan Chuan's soul sat cross-legged, refining the green energy given to him by the world tree. This energy is actually used to nourish souls. Moreover, it's from the same root as me. In fact, Yan Chuan's soul looked at his palm in surprise. A large number of light spots flashed around the soul, surrounding Yan Chuan like stars. Heavenly cycle stellar technique. However, at this moment, the countless light spots were constantly being compressed. From surrounding Yan Chuan's body, they slowly compressed into his palm. Countless stars revolve around Yan Chuan's right palm, as though he was holding a galaxy. The stars revolved around his palm, looking extremely mysterious. Universe in the palm? I finally mastered it. Back then, the two techniques that appeared in his dream were the dream of heaven's secrets and this universe in the palm. Although there's only one galaxy in my palm, it is much more powerful than the heavenly cycle stellar art. Yan Chuan's soul sighed as he looked at the galaxy in his palm. World tree? Cyprus? There will be a day when I will come back. Yan Chuan's eyes flashed with determination. West Divine Continent, Confucius Academy. Kong Daoqiu stared at a small mountain pass in the Confucius Lu Academy. He stood respectfully. Old ancestor, Daoqiu heard correctly. Mohina Dojin did shout Lotus God that day. Kong Daoqiu said solemnly. Lotus God. A dignified shout came from a valley. Kong Daoqiu nodded. Yes, Daoqiu definitely didn't mishear. I once heard the patriarch casually mention this person. Therefore, when Daoqiu fought with him, we immediately separated and didn't continue to tangle with him. The Lotus God has reappeared. He's connected to this world again. A surprised voice came from the valley. This was the first time Kong Daoqiu had heard the patriarch speak in such a surprised tone. Old ancestor, is this Lotus God very strong? Kong Daoqiu asked in surprise. Strong, more than strong. A bitter laugh came from the valley. Kong Daoqiu was stunned. This was the first time he had heard the patriarch speak in such a depressed tone. Fortunately, the Lotus God has only established a connection and bewitched the puppet Mohina Dojin. Although it is powerful, it is still within a controllable range. A relieved voice came from a valley. Kong Daoqiu looked at the valley in surprise. Daoqiu, the patriarch called. Daoqiu is here. Send the news to the Arcane sect, the Celestial Arcanum sect, the Great Tragedy Dynasty, the Julu Academy, the Dugu family, and other sects that have connections to the immortal realm. They all know the terror of the Lotus God. Then, join forces to encircle and annihilate Mohina Dojin and completely destroy the demon Lotus. The patriarch said seriously. Chapter 10:27. Kong Daoqiu was stunned. Did the old ancestor mean to gather the strength of the entire world to destroy Mohina Dojin? Wasn't this a little too exaggerated? Is Mohina Dojin really that strong? Kong Daoqiu was shocked. It's not Mohina Dojin that's strong. Who does he think he is? The main reason is because of the Lotus God. As long as the Lotus God puppets remain, if you return without success, I will send the news to the immortal world. At that time, 10,000 immortals will descend upon this world. The old ancestor sighed. Kong Daochio was stunned for a while, but he nodded seriously in the end. Yes. Under Kong Daochio's arrangements, the news quickly spread to all corners of the world. Southern Divine Continent, Great Calamity Dynasty. A messenger stood in front of King Guai. King Guai opened the letter. He skimmed through it. Lotus God. King Guai immediately exclaimed. Middle Divine Continent, Arcane Sects, Sacred Grounds. A messenger also stood in front of Meng Sansheng. After opening the letter, Meng Sansheng carefully skimmed through it. Gradually, Meng Sansheng's expression turned serious. Lotus God? Lotus God? Go back and tell Kong Daochio that the Arcane Sects, Sacred Grounds will come. Meng Sansheng shouted. Yes. East Divine Continent, Jiulu Academy. Mengling Tian looked at Kong Daochio's letter, confused. Beside Mengling Tian was another white-robed elder. The white-robed elder took the letter from Mengling Tian. His initial curiosity gradually turned into a solemn expression. Something big is going to happen. The Myriad Wonders Demonic Lotus is actually a chess piece of the Lotus God. The white-robed elder's expression changed. North Divine Continent, Arcane Sect. Yin Xin was discussing something with Ju. Ever since she chose Ju, she wholeheartedly planned for him. At this moment, an elder entered the hall with a Confucian scholar. Junior brother, why are you here? Yin Xin asked curiously. Senior brother, this is Kong Daochio's messenger. Kong Daochio sent this letter. We actually didn't notice it that day. We almost caused a disaster. The elder lamented. Yin Xin took the letter and read it. As she read, her expression changed drastically. Ju took it and read it as well. What's wrong? Ju curiously. Lotus God? It was actually Lotus God? Go and report to Kong Daochio. The Archaic Mysteries sect will definitely participate. Yin Xin said solemnly. Yes. The Confucian scholar nodded and retreated. Lotus God? Who is this person? It actually made your face change color like this? Ju said gravely. If the Lotus Goddess doesn't leave, the world won't be at peace. Yin Xin smiled bitterly. You mean to go to the Dezhou Holy Land together and kill the Lotus God that is the puppet Mohina Dojin? You asked curiously. Exterminate? Don't joke around, Your Majesty. We're already extremely fortunate to be able to chase away its attention. It can't be killed. It's immortal. It's invincible. It's invincible. It's invincible even in the immortal's world. Yin Xin smiled bitterly. Invincible even in the immortal world? How could there be such a person? Ju was surprised. He was the one who killed the heavens. He was the one who collapsed the heavenly laws. How can he not be powerful? Yin Xin smiled bitterly. Ju. Like Yin Chuan, Ju was stunned. Someone who killed heaven? This wasn't just heaven-defying. It was practically destroying the heavens. The heroes of the world moved as soon as they heard the news. At this moment, Mohina Dojin led 200 evil youths to Yinjing City. Everyone landed on the peak of a mountain. 200 evil youths. That was 200 upper void realm cultivators. Mohina Dojin's strength could affect the heroes of the world. Naturally, his strength was even more monstrous. At this moment, Mohina Dojin led a group of evil youths and looked around Yinjing with killing intent. Chapter 1028. Feng Yinyang's reincarnation Pul Mohina Dojin and his 200 Xie stared coldly at Yinjing. Although the Xie did not have much self-awareness, their strength was at the first stage of the upper void stage. If the Great Jin sect was just an ordinary middle-level sect, it would have ended up like Ning Shui Palace back then. There was no second possibility. Mohina Dojin landed on the peak of the mountain and scanned Yinjing. Yin Chuan, come out. Mohina Dojin shouted. Boom. His voice was like a thunderclap that spread throughout Yinjing. Countless citizens stopped what they were doing and turned to look towards the south. Roar. The golden dragon of Dajin's Providence roared. It grabbed the Sea of Providence and looked coldly at Mohina Dojin. Bai Ditian raised his eyebrows and walked out of the Tiger God Temple. Yifeng and Lu Gang also walked out and looked into the distance with solemn expressions. They turned around and headed straight for the Skyward Palace. As for Hua Guang, Jin Diyu, and the others, they were not in Yinjing. Purplish stepped out of the Skyward Hall with Meow Meow in tow. Empress, it's Mohina Dojin and 200 upper void stage puppets. Yifeng looked terrible. Meow Meow looked into the distance. I'll call His Majesty, Zizi said. With that, Zizi headed straight for Xianying Palace. Bai Ditian, on the other hand, quickly flew to the Skyward Palace. Yin Chuan was not there, so Bai Ditian stood in front of him. Mohina Dojin, what are you doing here? Bai Ditian asked in a low voice. In the distance, Mohina Dojin sneered. Bai Ditian, get lost. Otherwise, I'll kill you too. Ha ha. Don't you remember that time at the Archaic Mysteries sect? Didn't you still lose? Bai Ditian tried to stall for time. Defeated? Just because of Yin Chuan? Mohina Dojin said disdainfully. Mohina Dojin could also tell that Bai Ditian was stalling for time. However, Mohina Dojin did not mind and was even willing to cooperate with Bai Ditian. This was because Mohina Dojin wanted to wait for Yin Chuan to appear. Xianying Palace. Zizi rushed over with Meow. Empress, Feng Yinyang said respectfully. The matter of the morning is no small matter. I must wake His Majesty up. Zizi said. In front of outsiders, Zizi still had to protect Yin Chuan's dignity, so she also addressed him as Your Majesty. Feng Yinyang nodded and said, This subject will hold back Mohina Dojin. Empress, wake up His Majesty. His Majesty might need some time to get used to his body after waking up. Empress, you don't have to worry about me. Yes. Zizi nodded. Feng Yinyang strode out of the Xianying Palace. Quang. The doors of the Xianying Palace slammed shut. Soul's return. According to Yin Chuan's instructions before he left, Zizi used the black banner and shouted. Whoosh. The Yin Qi in the entire Xianying Palace roared. Surrounded by the rolling Yin Qi, Yin Chuan's aura was released. Rumble. After the coffin trembled, it seemed to form a huge suction force. In the blink of an eye, Yin Chuan's soul shot down and entered Yin Chuan's body. Whoosh! Another 2 souls returned. Whoosh! The souls returned one by one. In just 5 minutes, all 200 souls had entered Jiang Yi's body. Yin Chuan opened his eyes. He was slightly startled, as if he was sorting through 200 memories. With the Xianying Palace closed, nothing from the outside world could enter. After a while, Yin Chuan slowly woke up. Meow. Yin Chuan, Mohina Dojin is here. Meow immediately jumped onto Yin Chuan's shoulder. Chapter 1029. Yin Chuan smiled faintly and said, It's fine. Let me raise my cultivation first. As he spoke, Yin Chuan flipped his hand and took out a huge high-grade spirit stone that was as tall as a person. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, the energy in the spirit stone was absorbed by Yin Chuan, and it turned into a pile of powder. Meow. My spirit stone. It's so big, but it's gone in the blink of an eye. You wastrel. Meow immediately began to jiaohu. This was not an ordinary spirit stone. It was a high-grade spirit stone. It was gone in the blink of an eye. Yin Chuan ignored Meow Meow and continued to absorb the spirit stone. Countless amounts of energy quickly entered his body. Piles of powder appeared. It was as though a knife was cutting off Meow's flesh. Meow immediately bared her fangs and brandished her claws. My spirit stone. My spirit stone. Meow cried out bitterly. Meow Meow. Zizi hugged the crazed Meow Meow. Zizi smiled bitterly and said, Meow, you have so many spirit stones every day. It's not enough for you to eat. Meow gradually regained her senses. Meow, I forgot. However, Yin Chuan really doesn't treat spirit stones as spirit stones. I can't stand it anymore. Zizi was amused by Meow Meow. With 200 souls cultivating in the celestial realm, Yin Chuan's strength was also rising rapidly. 3rd level upper void stage. 4th level upper void stage. At the entrance of Skyward Hall, while Bai Ditian was stalling for time, Feng Yinyang slowly walked to the square of Skyward Hall. Feng Yinyang called out, "Exalt Bai." Feng Yinyang smiled and said, "Your Majesty might have to wait for a while. Right now, Your Majesty might not have to make a move. Why don't we join forces?" Bai Ditian looked at Feng Yinyang in shock. Bai Ditian knew about Feng Yinyang's strength, but Mohina Dojin had 200 upper void stage martial artists under his command. Feng Yinyang smiled and turned to look at Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin narrowed his eyes. "Feng Yinyang? Mohina Dojin, if you want to see His Majesty, it depends on whether you have the ability to do so." Feng Yinyang said lightly. "Oh, you?" Mohina Dojin said disdainfully. "With me, Mohina Dojin, what do you think?" Feng Yinyang said lightly. Mohina Dojin sneered and said, "Your words reminded me that Yin Chuan is a coward. I'll kill his important officials and see if he still comes out. Go, raise Yin Jing to the ground and kill everyone in the Chaotian Palace Square." Mohina Dojin said coldly. "Yes." The 200 evil chi replied immediately. "Ghost Valley Maze." Feng Yinyang said lightly. Buzz. In an instant, Yin Jing was covered in fog. It protected the people of Yin Jing, just like when they were facing Kong Mok. It even formed a huge maze, separating all the evil chi that had rushed inside and making them lose themselves in the fog. "Lord Bai, with this jade talisman, you can enter and exit the maze as you wish. Although these 200 people are strong, they are separated by my formation. I'll have to rely on you to kill them one by one," Feng Yinyang said as he handed over a jade talisman. "That's not a problem. However, that Mohina Dojin is not simple," Bai Ditian said worriedly. "Leave it to me," Feng Yinyang said firmly. "All right." Bai Ditian nodded as he rushed forward. Feng Yinyang, on the other hand, took a step forward and a huge circular pool appeared beneath his feet. Reincarnation pool? Lu Jin, who was not far away, was surprised. Buzz. A ripple appeared in the reincarnation pool, and a skeleton with a powerful aura slowly emerged from within. Chapter 10:30. This immortal is about to reincarnate. Who dares to disturb this immortal's reincarnation? The skeleton's voice was muddled as it shouted angrily. "It's him, Mohina Dojin." Feng Yinyang pointed at Mohina Dojin, who was outside the formation. Outside, Mohina Dojin did not see the reincarnated immortal that Feng Yinyang had grabbed from the reincarnation pool. Instead, he only saw the fog enveloping his subordinates. "Bastard!" Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with anger. This maze formation's power was average, but its hallucination effect was extremely powerful. His 200 subordinates were trapped in the formation in the blink of an eye. "Die!" Bai Ditian's angry roar came from within the formation. Roar! An evil chi roared. Boom! 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 The two powerhouses began to fight each other. One was at the first level of the upper void stage, while the other was at the 10th level of the upper void stage. Although they were able to resist for a while, they were no match for Bai Ditian. Ah! Bam! With a miserable shriek, the evil centipede exploded with a loud bang. Although he could not see what was inside, Mohina Dojin immediately analyzed the situation through the 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus. "You want to kill my evil chi?" Mohina Dojin was enraged. Mohina Dojin reached out and struck the formation with his palm. Boom! The maze formation shook, but it did not break. Obviously, Mohina Dojin's raw power was not enough. However, the maze formation shook, and it seemed like it was not far away. Mohina Dojin's eyes flashed with a cold light. Buzz! The 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus suddenly appeared above his head, and a black energy quickly entered Mohina Dojin's body. Whoosh! Mohina Dojin's body instantly turned pitch black, and an extremely evil aura surged from his body. His strength suddenly skyrocketed. Mohina Dojin believed that with his current strength, he could completely destroy the formation. "Break for me!" Mohina Dojin roared. He slammed his palm toward the formation. A massive palm energy materialized in the void. It shook and created a rolling storm as it charged toward the Ghost Valley maze. Under the giant palm, the people of Beijing all felt a monstrous pressure. Just as the giant palm was about to hit the formation, a pale white skeletal palm suddenly emerged from within the white fog formation and collided with Mohina Dojin's giant palm. Boom! The huge impact was like thunder from the nine heavens, causing the ears of countless people to ring. Mohina Dojin was not only unable to break out of the formation, but was also sent flying by the claw, a distance of 1,000 zhang. After stabilizing himself, Mohina Dojin's expression changed drastically. How is this possible? The power of a human immortal? Is this the power of a human immortal? Within the formation, a three-man tall skeleton slowly flew out. The two eyes of the skeleton were emitting a dark blue light of hatred. Stop me from reincarnating. I will kill you. Roar. The skeleton roared toward the sky. Violent energy surged toward Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin's expression changed. He knew that he had underestimated the strength of the guards of Beijing. Lotus God, lend me your power. Mohina Dojin roared again. Buzz. The 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus suddenly spun. Waves of black energy quickly entered Mohina Dojin's body. Crack! Crack! A pair of giant horns suddenly grew on Mohina Dojin's head. The evil chi on Mohina Dojin's body surged again. At this moment, Mohina Dojin's energy was no weaker than that of the skeleton immortal. With a ferocious face, Mohina Dojin said coldly, Immortal? So what? I'll still destroy your body and soul. Chapter 10:31. Beside the reincarnation pool, Feng Yinyang was panting heavily. His hands were trembling as sweat dripped down his forehead. It was not easy to capture an immortal from the reincarnation passage. Back then, the grave ghost fire had sacrificed its lifespan to capture an immortal. The strongest immortal that the grave ghost fire had captured was only a Xian immortal. Feng Yinyang had already reached his limit by capturing a mortal immortal. At least at this moment, that was the limit of Feng Yinyang. In the maze of the Ghost Valley, Bai Diqian was killing Xieyu. Even though Xieyu was not as strong as Bai Diqian, it was still an upper void realm cultivator. How could it be so easy to kill? The battle continued. In the sky, the mortal immortal skeleton was fighting against the second-level demonic Mohina Dojin. After the second demonic transformation, Mohina Dojin grew a pair of horns on his head. Every move he made could bring about a vast storm. Roar! You dare to disturb my reincarnation? Die. Oof. You're the one who's going to die, Lin Hua. In the storm, Mohina Dojin was fighting the immortal alone. Under the huge impact, sand and stones flew everywhere. Outside Yinjing, the people were in a terrible situation. Smoke and dust rose into the sky. The two experts clashed again and again, creating a series of loud sounds that shook people's souls. Boom! Boom! In the distance, countless people who were not on the battlefield trembled in fear when they heard the sound. On the reincarnation pool, Feng Yinyang's face turned ugly. Others could not see the battlefield, but Feng Yinyang could see what was going on through the immortal. The second-level demonic Mohina Dojin was too strong. Even the immortal skeleton was suppressed by Mohina Dojin. At this moment, a large number of cracks appeared on the skeleton's body. Roar! The immortal skeleton roared. Break! Mohina Dojin's face was hideous. Boom! The left arm of the human immortal skeleton exploded into pieces. The human immortal skeleton let out a miserable cry. Right arm shatter. Mohina Dojin's voice was still ferocious. At the same time, an evil fist came crashing down. The right arm of the human immortal skeleton exploded once again. The worldly immortal skeleton who had lost both of its arms suddenly glared at Mohina Dojin. Those who humiliate me die. Roar! The human immortal skeleton also seemed to have gone mad. Its dark blue eyes suddenly turned blood red. He rushed towards Mohina Dojin. Humph. Mohina Dojin snorted coldly and punched the skeleton's chest with his right fist. Crack! A single punch had shattered the skeleton's chest. However, the skeleton did not move. Instead, it wrapped its legs around Mohina Dojin. Kaka, let's die together. Ong! The human immortal realm skeleton exploded. The huge impact instantly flattened the surrounding mountains and rivers. At the location of the explosion, it was as if the void had collapsed. Endless chaotic airflow flowed rapidly. Everywhere it passed, all living things were destroyed. The lake and sea evaporated. Under the impact, even the Ghost Valley maze rippled. Feng Yinyang looked into the distance with a hint of anticipation in his eyes. The self-explosion of an immortal? Although it was the lowest level of the human immortal, the power of the self-explosion was not something that mortals could withstand. Even an immortal would be seriously injured. Rumble. Under Feng Yinyang's expectant gaze, the void in the distance slowly calmed down. The clouds within thousands of miles dispersed and gradually revealed a black figure. He's not dead. Feng Yinyang's face darkened. It was Mohina Dojin. Mohina Dojin's clothes were mostly torn. More than half of his left arm was broken and bleeding. However, Mohina Dojin seemed to be even more furious. Chapter 1032. Roar. Dowlord Fury's son let out a loud roar, causing another series of explosions to ring out in the surroundings. Rumble, 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 rumble. Bastard, all of you must die. Mohina Dojin roared with hatred. Mohina Dojin reached out his hand and struck at the Ghost Valley's maze formation. Boom! The entire Yinjin shook under his attack. Boom! The Ghost Valley's maze formation shattered. Suddenly, Xiaoyu and Bai Ditian were exposed. Bai Ditian had already killed 100 Xiaoyu, and another 100 had escaped. He was furious. Roar! Mohina Dojin led the Xiaoyu, and their evil aura soared into the sky. The entire southern sky seemed to be dyed black by this angry, evil aura. The powerful aura made even Bai Ditian's expression change drastically. Mr. Feng, can you summon another immortal? Lu Jin asked anxiously. Feng Yinyang smiled bitterly and said, summoning one immortal is already my limit. Then what should we do? Lu Jin asked worriedly. Feng Yinyang closed his eyes as if he was making an important decision. I'll stop Maori. Feng Yinyang, you take care of those puppets. Bai Ditian said solemnly. No, let me do it. With my lifespan, I'll try summoning one more time. Feng Yinyang said bitterly. Just as Feng Yinyang was about to summon the reincarnated immortal, Mohina Dojin suddenly charged at him from afar. Yinjin, destroy it. A black ball of light suddenly appeared in Mohina Dojin's palm and smashed towards Yinjin. The moment the ball of light appeared, it was like a black hole that swallowed everything. The wind and sand were instantly sucked into the ball of light. It was as if Yinjin had been swallowed by the ball of light when it landed on it. Help! Many civilians were suddenly sucked into the air by the ball of light. Roar! The nine-clawed golden dragon suddenly roared, and its dragon head slammed into the ground. Boom! The nine-clawed golden dragon crashed into the black ball of light. Countless civilians were saved and fell from the sky. Your Majesty, save me. For a moment, the people of Beijing were screaming. Many of the injured people were crying. After the nine-clawed golden dragon broke through the black ball, it landed on the Sea of Providence again. When a nine-clawed golden dragon moved, everyone understood that Yin Chuan had made his move. Many people hovered in the air, turning their heads to look in the direction of the palace of Xianying. Xianying Palace. Yin Chuan, in a black dragon royal robe, stood coldly at the entrance of the palace of Xianying. ZZ was standing behind him, holding Miao in her arms. Yin Chuan looked coldly at Mohina Dojin in the distance. Yin Chuan, you finally came out. Huh, you should be satisfied that everyone in Beijing will die with you. Mohina Dojin roared. Kill. Under Mohina Dojin's command, 100 evil chi rushed towards Beijing under Mohina Dojin's command. Humph. Outside the palace of Xianying, Yin Chuan suddenly snorted. Yin Chuan suddenly reached out his right hand, and there seemed to be a strong suction force on his right hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 100 evil chi couldn't resist at all. In an instant, they were sucked into Yin Chuan's palm. Yin Chuan's palm was like a world, no, a galaxy. In Yin Chuan's palm was a compressed galaxy. 100 evil chi were sucked into the galaxy in an instant, and they were lost in it. Stop pretending. Mohina Dojin charged towards Yin Chuan in disbelief. Universe in the palm. Yin Chuan said coldly. Chapter 1033. Rumble. Countless stars instantly surrounded Mohina Dojin. With an extremely strong force, Mohina Dojin was sucked into Yin Chuan's palm. Around Yin Chuan's palm, a few stars floated, but most of them were in the center of his palm. Mohina Dojin and 100 evil puppets were all sucked into the universe in the palm. Feng Yinyang, Bai Ditian, Lu Jin, Yifeng, and the rest were all stunned as they watched this scene. Is this real? Bastard, where is this? Let me out. Mohina Dojin's Jiaohu voice came from the center of his palm. Yin Chuan looked coldly at his palm and urged the stars to revolve quickly. Whoosh, whoosh. The stars of an entire galaxy revolved, producing an extremely terrifying, strangling force. Rumble. As the strangling power skyrocketed, Dalord Maelstrom instantly felt a crushing force pressing down on him from all directions. An evil puppet in the distance screamed as its body changed shape. Bam! One of the evil puppets exploded. Bam! Bam! One by one, evil puppets exploded as they were squeezed by the power of the stars. Yin Chuan extracted the evil aura. The Jade Emperor's sword suddenly flew out and quickly extracted the evil aura. It seemed to be enjoying it as it trembled slightly. 100 evil puppets were killed in the blink of an eye. They were all destroyed. Only Mohina Dojin was left in the universe in the palm. Bastard, bastard. Mohina Dojin screamed and waved his fists around. However, there was no opponent in the universe in the palm. His fists seemed to hit the air. However, the killing force of the stars was not affected. It ruthlessly twisted Mohina Dojin. Could he only take the hits? No. Yin Chuan, let me out. Do you dare to fight me fair and square? Mohina Dojin exclaimed. This is what being upright means. Yin Chuan said coldly. Ka 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 ka. The strangling power of an entire galaxy quickly acted on Mohina Dojin's body. Mohina Dojin's strong body began to crack. Yin Chuan stared at his palm. The universe in the palm was too powerful. Yin Chuan even wondered how much he had achieved in his previous life. How could a universe in the palm force Mohina Dojin into such a state? And this was just one galaxy. If there were tens of thousands of galaxies, how terrifying would it be? Rumble. No! Mohina Dojin screamed. However, Yin Chuan did not care about Mohina Dojin. He stared coldly at his palm and watched the strangling. Boom! Dao Monarch Black Sun exploded with a loud bang. His physical body was instantly torn apart. A large amount of evil chi surged out and was absorbed by the Jade Emperor's sword. However, there was still something inside. It was a black lotus. The 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus. The 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus was still fine? Boom! The 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus suddenly emitted a black light and rushed out of Yin Chuan's universe in the palm. Yin Chuan's face changed, and he slashed with the Jade Emperor's sword. However, the 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus was too fast. It instantly shot into the sky and shot towards the north. Yin Chuan, I will be back. I will be back for revenge. Mohina Dojin's voice came from the sky. Meow. Yin Chuan, you are so powerful. Meow exclaimed. You only destroyed Mohina Dojin's body. The Lotus God is indeed powerful. Even under such circumstances, it could still escape with Mohina Dojin's soul. Yin Chuan frowned and said in a low voice. At this moment, Feng Yinyang, Bai Ditian, and the others also rushed to Yin Chuan. Seeing the stars on Yin Chuan's right hand slowly dissipate, everyone fell silent. It was obvious that they had been defeated by Yin Chuan's universe in the palm. Chapter 1034. Boom! In a great Jun empire, the sea of Providence clouds surged violently. Following that, surging Providence rapidly converged towards the Jun. Roar! The golden dragon of Providence let out an excited roar. Your Majesty, is the increase in Jun's Providence caused by the destruction of Maori's body? Yifeng asked in shock. Yin Chuan nodded and said, That's right. Maori is the sacred lord of Dezhou. In terms of momentum, the defeat this time caused the Dezhou sacred ground to suffer a great loss. The loss of merit was seized by me, Dezhou. Your Majesty, I've attained great fortune and have already reached this level. When can I ascend to the Celestial Empire? Yifeng asked again. Nations are different from sections. Sects are blessed by heaven, while nations are forbidden by heaven. Once a nation reaches the state of Emperor Dynasty, if it wants to advance further, it has to defeat sects of the same level and take their karmic rank. Only then can it advance further, Yin Chuan said seriously. In other words, we must flatten the great Zhao Holy Land before our great Jun can advance to the Celestial Empire? Yifeng said solemnly. Yin Chuan nodded. Yifeng did not ask about what had just happened, but by Ditian and Feng Yinyang stared at Yin Chuan's palm in shock. Your Majesty, did you just kill 100 upper void stage cultivators? And almost killed Mohina Dojin? Feng Yinyang exclaimed. Yin Chuan nodded lightly and said, I had some fortuitous encounters in the immortal world this time. Fortuitous encounter? Everyone was speechless. It had only been 10 years or so, and Yin Chuan already had the power to destroy immortals. This was more than just a fortuitous encounter. Your Majesty, are we going to attack the great Zhao Holy Land now? Yifeng asked again. No, let's first take down the surrounding middle rank sections. We can't take down the great revelation Holy Land yet, Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yes. How many of the 9 middle sects have you taken in? Yin Chuan asked doubtfully. Reporting to your Majesty, 3 of them have already joined our great Jun Empire. 1 more has pledged allegiance in secret and is cooperating with our army. 2 of them are hesitating, while the last 3 are determined not to obey. They even have the determination to fight to the death. Yifeng explained. Choose one of the 3 sects that refuse to comply and make an example out of them, Yin Chuan said with a cold look in his eyes. Yifeng looked at Yin Chuan in surprise and finally said solemnly, Yes. Yifeng could tell that Yin Chuan was anxious, but he didn't understand why. However, he still carried it out accurately. Yin Chuan was anxious because Yin Chuan understood more. He couldn't help but feel anxious. Lotus God? It was like a knife hanging over his head. If there had been no news of the Lotus God, it would have been fine, but now the Lotus God had appeared. The Lotus God had rolled back the earth. The myriad wonders demonic lotus was just a prelude. Yin Chuan knew that the immortal world would definitely be swept into a huge storm soon, a storm that would cause all living things to crumble. Yin Chuan had already reincarnated many times. This time, Yin Chuan didn't want to reincarnate. Yin Chuan wanted to quickly inherit all his previous lives and establish himself in the world. The first step was to quickly unify the East Divine Continent. Yin Chuan quickly gave the order. Jin Diyu and Huaguang, who had split up, quickly gathered outside a sect called the Bloodblade Killing Sect. At the peak of the main peak of the Bloodblade Killing Sect, a burly man led a group of disciples covered in blood. Jin Diyu, Huaguang, I, Bloodblade, will never submit to you. I have always been the one to kill. There is no such thing as submitting to others. Come, my blade once slaughtered 80 cities and killed 160 million people. Come at me if you want to die. The leader of the sect said coldly. 160 million? Huaguang showed a trace of disdain. Suddenly, Huaguang's entire body surged with bloodlust. Chapter 1035. Kill, Huaguang ordered. The army charged at the blood saber killing sect. The battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. The blood saber killing sect was razed to the ground. The blood saber sect master and 2 million disciples were captured. 2 million people were tied up in a large plaza. Some of the great Jun army collected the corpses while others watched over the prisoners. Huoguang, Jin Diyu, if you dare to touch me, my senior brother will take revenge for me. The blood saber-killing sect master roared. Li Si, Huoguang, and Jin Diyu stood together. Lordly, in this head-on battle, my great Jun suffered heavy casualties as well. Huoguang said with a frown. Many died this time, but there will be fewer next time. Perhaps we won't have to die. Li Si said with a faint smile. Oh, look around, Li Si said with a smile. Huoguang and Jin Diyu looked around and saw some cultivators hiding in the distant mountains and forests. Are they from the other sects? The disciples of the middle and inferior sects? Huoguang asked with an excited expression. Li Si nodded. Kill all of these 2 million prisoners. Li Si said seriously. Kill all of them? More than half of them surrendered just now. We were able to take down this sect so quickly because they surrendered. How can we kill these people who surrendered? Huoguang said in shock. Why can't we kill them? Surrender? Why not surrender earlier? Why surrender now? Since His Majesty has given that order, it is clear that His Majesty is very anxious now. We should share His Majesty's burden and make an example out of them. Let's use their deaths as a warning to those sects that are still hesitating. Jin Diyu and Huoguang exchanged glances. Although they were somewhat unwilling, they nodded in the end. Men, kill all of these rebels. Huoguang ordered. Yes. A tsunami of responses answered. The great Jin army immediately moved. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I surrender. Huoguang, I surrender. Don't kill me. The prisoners shouted. However, Huoguang, Jin Diyu, and the others were unmoved. The two of them had killed countless people in the world of immortals. When the disciples of the various sects saw how great Jun was handling things, their eyes went wide. How is that possible? Those people have already surrendered. Why are you still killing them? Great Jun, you're too cruel. Bao Jun. Li Si held a green feather fan and stood on the peak of a mountain, coldly looking around. Bao Jin, so what if I'm going to get rich? Even though I'm labeled as cruel, I, Dejun, want you all to be afraid, everyone to be afraid. Anyone who dares to provoke my great Jin sect will not be spared. How dare you resist Dejun? Kill, kill, kill. Wherever Dejun went, the myriad sects had to submit. Kill. Bao Jun's reputation spread like wildfire after today. For a time, the remaining sects of the East Divine Continent were inexplicably terrified. Timely, the middle-level sects that had secretly submitted to Great Jun immediately announced their submission to Great Jun in a high-profile manner. 2 middle-level sects that had been hesitating finally agreed to submit to the Great Jun Empire. When some of the lower-level sects saw the arrival of Great Jun's army, their sect leaders led their elders to welcome them with smiles. There were also lower-level sects that rebelled. If they dared to resist, Great Jun's army would leave no one alive. Kill, kill, kill. The speed of Great Jun's army increased by several times in an instant. Of course, the price was that Great Jun's reputation was no longer as benevolent and righteous as before. Chapter 1036. It was a lower-level sect. Sectmaster, it's not good. Bao Jun is here. He has already destroyed the lower-level sect in the south. The vanguard will arrive in less than 2 days. A disciple ran into the sect master's hall in terror. His tone was as though he had seen a ghost. When the disciple shouted, the expressions of the elders in the hall changed. Sect master, Great Jin's policy has changed. If they do not submit, they will kill the entire sect. No one will be left alive. An elder said with an ugly expression. What should we do? The other elders said anxiously. Should we ask for help from the other sects? Ask for help. They dare to come? Sect leader, let's just submit. The sect master's expression darkened. Bastard, how can my sect submit to Bao Jun? When the sect master shouted, the elders in the hall all had ugly expressions. At this time, another disciple ran in from outside the hall. Sect master, it's not good. My sect disciples are shouting at the foot of the mountain. They are asking sect master to submit to Great Jun. What? The sect master's expression changed. Yes, half of the disciples are asking sect master to submit. Wherever the ruthless Dejun passed by, those who did not submit would be massacred. Not a single person was spared. Those who tried to escape would be issued with arrest warrants. Their portraits would be sent out in all directions. Anyone who dared to harbor a criminal would be killed. The entire sect was slaughtered. For a time, the entire East Divine continent was shrouded in Great Jun's shadow. Of course, it was another matter for the people of Great Jun. At this time, Great Jun advocated the policy of being a saint inside, a king outside. People outside Great Jun were panicking, but inside Great Jun, it was peaceful. The policy was even helpful to the people inside. High-level cultivation methods, secret manuals, spells, and Yao arts were continuously provided to the people. As long as they made a certain amount of contributions, Great Jun would not be stingy with giving heaven-level cultivation methods. With Bao Zhan's reputation, Great Jun's expansion was many times faster. In the blink of an eye, there were only 2 middle-level sects left resisting. However, these 2 middle-level sects were in chaos because of Great Jun's brutality. Great Jun's attitude was that those who resisted would be killed. Even if they surrendered, they would die. Now, many ordinary disciples were panicking and begging their masters to surrender. I don't want to die. There were also many disciples who saw the stubbornness of the sects and quickly fled. For a time, the 2 middle sects were like a sheet of loose sand. Dejun was still as ruthless as before and continued to wage war. The speed of Bao Zhan's army was too fast, and the news had not yet spread throughout the world. At this moment, the world was paying more attention to the Dazhao Holy Land. Ever since Mohina Dojin lost to Yin Chuan, the Great Zhao Holy Land lost a lot of merit. At the same time, the strongest experts from all over the world were about to arrive at the Great Revelation Holy Land. Yang Zigu sat alone in the Great Zhao Palace anxiously. 300 Xieyongs stood in the hall, protecting Yang Zigu. The loss of merit in the sky had already explained everything. Father had lost in Yinjing. This defeat made Yang Zigu extremely fearful. If his father was defeated, then wouldn't he be finished as well? Therefore, Yang Zigu brought these evil spirits with him wherever he went. I don't know how father is. Yang Zigu was afraid. Swish! Suddenly, a black light shot into the hall. 10,000 wonders, demonic lotus? Yang Zigu's expression changed. Whoosh! Mohina Dojin's soul appeared in the black chi emitted by the 10,000 wonders demonic lotus. But at this moment, his soul had already been dyed black. Father, you're back, Yang Zigu said excitedly. But at this moment, Mohina Dojin looked at Yang Zigu coldly. Father, why are you looking at me like that? Yang Zigu said in surprise. Zhijio, do you know why father has doted on you since you were young? Yang Zigu said in a deep voice. Father has given you so much since you were young. Now, it's time for you to return it to father. Mohina Dojin's soul said coldly. Father, what did you say? I came back just in time. 361 years. Today, Zhijio, I have waited for 361 years for your body. Now it is mine. Mohina Dojin said coldly. While speaking, Mohina Dojin's hand entered Yang Zigu's body. Because it was a soul, his right hand seemed to be able to penetrate Yang Zigu's body and directly enter Yang Zigu's body. Boom! Yang Zigu suddenly split into 2. His body and soul were suddenly separated, and Mohina Dojin grabbed his soul. Whoosh! Mohina Dojin's soul rushed into Yang Zigu's body. Wong! All 361 acupoints on Mohina Dojin's body suddenly emitted a dazzling light. Mohina Dojin merged with Yang Zigu's body, but Yang Zigu's soul was stunned for a moment as he stared blankly at the body in front of him. No, it's not like this, Yang Zigu's soul said in horror. Chapter 1037. Yang Zigu's soul stared blankly at his own body in front of him. Did his father steal his body? He had spoiled him for so many years because of his physique? No, father, it's not like that, father. Yang Zigu immediately cried out. Losing his physical body, Yang Zigu only panicked, but his father's betrayal made Yang Zigu feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. In the past, Mohina Dojin held up the sky for Yang Zigu. This sky allowed Yang Zigu to do whatever he wanted. Even when his brothers died, Mohina Dojin was indifferent as long as Yang Zigu was fine. So, this was not because he spoiled Yang Zigu. It was not. It was as if the sky had suddenly fallen. Noisy! Mohina Dojin coldly shouted. Bang! Yang Zigu's soul was suddenly thrown to the ground, almost dissipating. Lying on the ground, Yang Zigu's eyes were filled with fear. At this moment, Mohina Dojin's body was emitting golden light, and the 361 acupuncture points were emitting white light. The 10,000 Wonders Demon Lotus was slowly rotating above his head. Boom! Mohina Dojin opened the roof with a palm, and immediately the 361 acupuncture points produced a huge suction force, connecting to the sun in the sky. From the sun, 361 rays of light shot down, directly towards Mohina Dojin's 361 acupuncture points. Mohina Dojin flew up into the sky and stood in midair, madly absorbing the power bestowed by the sun. His entire body was surrounded by a huge fireball. Rumble! The surrounding air was stacked with waves, rolling out in all directions. Mohina Dojin was borrowing the power of the sun to break through. Middle void stage. Ha! Upper emptiness realm. Ha ha! 9 blazing suns body, which corresponds to the number of suns. For this body, I prepared for thousands of years. The phoenix gave birth to 8 children, but I allowed her to give birth to the 9th child. Although the phoenix died because of this, she finally gave birth to the 9th child. Ha ha ha! Rumble! When Mohina Dojin broke through, a large number of dark clouds appeared in the sky. However, under the scorching sun, these dark clouds disappeared in an instant. Mohina Dojin's strength was still increasing. Human celestial stage. Mohina Dojin said excitedly. Boom! Mohina Dojin was enveloped in a fireball. I've finally become an immortal. Haha, forward for me. Mohina Dojin's eyes suddenly turned cold. The flames of the sun suddenly surged toward the myriad wonder demonic lotus above his head. The power of the underworld, the might of the sun, traversed the void and refined the lotus god with fire. Mohina Dojin suddenly shouted. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, endless spiritual chi quickly gathered from all directions and rushed toward Mohina Dojin. They were forcefully extracted to help Mohina Dojin refine the myriad wonder demonic lotus. He even wanted to use the power of the sun to refine the lotus god. Boom! The flames of the sun crazily refined the myriad wonder demonic lotus. Mohina Dojin raised his head and looked at the myriad wonder demonic lotus above his head with a ferocious expression. You want to refine me? A disdainful voice came from a myriad wonder demonic lotus. Ha ha ha! Lotus god, you want to control me? Humph! Do you think I will be controlled by you? I have the 9th physique, which is the same as the sun. You have already been transferred into the sun's body. How does it feel to be in the sun's body? Mohina Dojin laughed loudly. The myriad wonder demonic lotus was silent. Chapter 1038. Haha, Lotus Goddess. Every time I borrow your strength, my body will be corroded by the evil aura. It must be your doing. Now, I'm going to refine you and strip you of all your strength. All of your strength will be mine. Ha 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 ha. Tao Monarch Black Sun laughed wildly in excitement. Even if you are a powerful existence in the immortal realm, you will not be able to escape from the sun. The sun that has existed since ancient times is eternally powerful. Die. Mohina Dojin laughed wildly. Just as Mohina Dojin was getting excited, the voice of the 10,000 Wonders demonic lotus came again. The eternal sun? Heh, not to mention that I am not in the sun. Even if your sun was in front of me, I could still smash it with a palm. You ain't want to refine me? Hmm. Mohina Dojin's face changed. If you really had the ability to move me into the sun, I would have to thank you. But you're still far from it. I was the one who crushed the sun of the netherworld back then. The sun of the world of the living. You just didn't have the time. I gave you power, and you actually want to rebel? Do you know that I can give you power, and I can also take it away from you? Moreover, I can take it away from you outside of the control of fate. Lotus God said coldly with the 10,000 wonders demonic lotus. Ah, ah. Mohina Dojin's body suddenly trembled, and he cried out in horror. Because Mohina Dojin suddenly realized that he could not move. No. Mohina Dojin cried out in horror. Mohina Dojin's soul was suddenly squeezed out of Yang Ziga's body. But this time, the 10,000 wonders demonic lotus did not come out with him. Die. Oh no. Mohina Dojin cried out in horror. Bang. Mohina Dojin's soul scattered, and in an instant, it was crushed into powder and disappeared from this world. Whoosh! Yang Ziga's body produced a huge suction force. Yang Ziga's soul was suddenly sucked in by the suction force and attached to his body again. Only the soul of the main body can better control the main body. Yang Zigu, from today onwards, you will do all the things under the heavens for me. The Lotus God's voice came from the 10,000 wonders lotus. After Yang Zigu regained his body, he immediately rejoiced. Mohina Dojin was cold by nature, and Yang Zigu was also cold by nature. Seeing Mohina Dojin being destroyed, he didn't have a trace of sympathy. Yes, Yang Ziga shouted, your physique is special. I can give you more power. The limit of the Mao Sun physique is the peak of Xian Immortal. But you're different. With my power, you can reach the level of an Earth Immortal, or even a Sky Immortal. Lotus Goddess said. Yes, Yang Zigu shouted excitedly. On the other side, due to Mohina Dojin's death, the great Zhao Holy Land's merit cloud sea rumbled loudly. Boom! The merit cloud sea suddenly exploded. Merit quickly flowed towards the southeast. When an emperor died, there would be no luck. However, when a sect leader died, only half of the merit would be lost. This was because the sect leader could write down a successor on the Tiansu. If he died, the Tiansu would automatically be transferred to him. However, Mohina Dojin was too selfish and didn't write down a successor. Once Mohina Dojin died, the Tiansu was useless. The endless merit collapsed and flowed away. And the direction it flowed towards was none other than the Great Jin Empire. There was a huge net of fate in the heavens and earth. It was extremely dense, and all karma was within it. The net of fate naturally calculated who killed who. Logically speaking, it should be the Lotus God who killed Mao Sun. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.